So when you're on the go, headed to practice, or need a snack, grab a Bo's Bird Dog. Hurry in before they're gone. Available for a limited time. It's Bo time.
There's no time like Bo time, but sometimes it's go time. No time to stop, but the perfect time for a Bojangles Bird Dog. A seasoned to perfection Bojangles Chicken Supremes, dill pickles, and Carolina Gold barbecue sauce, all tucked inside a toasted bun. Great on the go. Try 2 Bird Dogs for just $5 or 2 Bird Dog Combo for just $8.25. Available for limited time only. When you're hungry for flavor and value, it's Bo time.
The next disaster is coming. Make a plan. Keep extra medication on hand. Make copies of important documents. Stay informed and be ready. Learn more at americares.org/send-us-in.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, injury lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it.
That one back, that one going, gone!
Go to RitchieLaw.com.
That's RitchieLaw.com.
Broadcasting live from the Lenovo Studios. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
I'm WRAL meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner. A little bit hotter for us this afternoon. More sunshine. We'll see partly cloudy skies with a high of 90 degrees. If we hit that 90, it'll be the first time this month. 73 overnight tonight. And Saturday, a bad little on the hot side. Highs in the upper 80s with a very small chance for thunderstorms.
Weather update brought to you by Newcomb & Company, where your comfort is their business. Visit newcombandcompany.com. 3 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones up 114 points to 45,025.
Bryce in the pocket, steps up, eludes the rush, throws, end zone, caught, Adam Thielen, touchdown!
He'll toss it that way to Hampton, and he is in. Touchdown, Carolina.
Bailey, shotgun, snap left hash, his QB keeper, dives forward, touchdown. Bailey is third of the night.
Cooper faces up with 5 and 4, drives Davis, spins, waiting, fades away, and hits! Game over! Series over! Sebastian!
The Drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan.
We're inching closer and closer to real games, folks. Talking real, actual football games. We're inching closer and closer. It's The Drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan. Dennis Cox sitting in for Tim Donnelly this afternoon. Max Scoren producing the show today. Hope everyone's getting ready for the weekend. A safe, fun, happy, hopefully not too hot of a weekend. Because, Max, it's getting closer. Day by day, we are getting closer. We are now officially less than 2 weeks away from the start of the college football season here in the Triangle, at least. I mean, there's actual NFL games being played, or NCAA college football games, real ones on Saturday next week. So 8 days from now. We are that close, folks. But one team's going to be out a lot of money, and that's where we get started with the Big 3 at 3. Number 1 here.
Number 1.
Michigan football. NCAA ruled today that Michigan football essentially is going to have to pay about $30 million in fines. So former staff member for Michigan football, the Michigan Wolverines, by the name of Connor Stallions, he was kind of one of the main people involved with this, along with their former coach, John Harbaugh. But Connor Stallions, who is a staff member of Michigan football, and he would use others, like interns and some other people that he knew. Connor Stallions back in 2023 was doing advanced scouting on teams that were future opponents of Michigan football that season. So he was going to games, video recording the sidelines of the opposing team or future opponents that Michigan was going to face, and they would get a video of their signals that they would signal in from the sideline, especially the other team's defense, and decipher what those signals meant. So then on game day, or at least in their preparation for game day, they had an advantage going in. So they were doing this for multiple games. And again, Connor Stallions was kind of the main person involved with this. But Harbaugh, their head coach, they're trying to use the whole plausible deniability and all this stuff. He was involved. And Michigan got caught. And the NCAA issued their penalties today. And this is what they decided. No postseason revenue in 2025 and 2026 for Michigan football. Now, postseason revenue is obviously depends on how many teams make it to the Big Ten regarding the college football playoff. Does Michigan actually make the college football playoff? So some of that amount is dictated on really how well the conference and Michigan does individually. But nonetheless, a lot of that money is shared among the conferences that qualify. So no postseason revenue share in 2025 nor in 2026 seasons for Michigan, which is estimated to be, again, roughly around $20 million. Again, a lot of that can depend on, is there an expansion of the college football playoff and so on. Also, they were fined 10% of their football budget. Now, their football budget is north of $70 million, Max, about $72 million. So you're talking about a fines north of $7 million. In that regard, roughly $20 million, if not more, in money lost in revenue sharing. And then there's some other money that's kind of thrown in there. So you're looking at roughly, the estimate is roughly $30 million in fines. Now, a couple coaches were given what's known as a show cause, including the former coach Harbaugh, who got a 10-year show cause. A show cause by the NCAA is if a school wants to hire this person, they have to state they are hiring this person, and then that 10-year window kicks in before they actually are able to do anything with your athletic department. That's why they call it. It's called a show cause. It's the term they use, but essentially it's like a 10-year suspension. And that suspension only really starts when you actually are hired by a school, which he's happily coaching the LA Chargers right now in the NFL. So what does he care? He doesn't. Clearly didn't care because they obviously cheated. Now, again, those are financial penalties. We'll get into more what wasn't included in the penalties. But real quick, Bruce Feldman, who covers college football for both The Athletic and the Big Ten Network, part of Fox Sports, discussed the financial penalties and how they really don't impact Michigan.
I think it's a ding, but at the same point, I don't think it's like a devastating blow. This is Michigan. Michigan has more money than almost anybody when it comes to operating at a high level as a college athletic department. I don't think this is like crippling by any means, especially when you're talking about how huge the Michigan endowment is related to what this punishment is probably going to be. So, I don't know how much the NCAA could really hammer Michigan. I think the best thing, if you're somebody who really took issue with everything and said, oh, this is the only reason why they were winning, then it's like, you can believe however you want to believe. I think just because of the Charlie Baker statement coming out of it, again, this is the head of the NCAA to say what he did after Michigan won the title. I think they were a little bit handcuffed on just how hard they can come down on them. And again, this has been a few years in the making, and they were punishing Michigan as it was going on.
So some of those Michigan punishments as it was going on were basically Michigan suspended their head coach. Like they suspended Harbaugh for a few games, including one against East Carolina a couple of years ago. So that's just, nonetheless, they get to keep their national championship. They get to keep their national championship, and they're still eligible for postseason play. So it's just a bunch of money. And guess what? Like Bruce Feldman just said, they can make up that money no problem.
Yeah, for them, it's a ding. It's a drop in the bucket.
Exactly. They'll make up $30 million, and guess what? You keep your national championship. Essentially, their national championship costs them $30 million, and I'd be hard-pressed to find a school out there that wouldn't pay $30 million for a national championship in football. Let's be honest. All right, that's number one. Let's get to number two.
Number two.
The number two story. Number 2 thing here on the Big 3 at 3 on the Drive with Tim Donnelly. Again, Dennis Cox sitting in for Tim Donnelly this afternoon. It's not sitting in for Adam Gold. The Carolina Panthers take on the Houston Texans tomorrow. Preseason game number 2. I hope that the Houston Texans play their starters. I say that 3 times because I hope it comes true. I want the Texans to play their starters because I want to see the Carolina Panthers, both starting offense and defense, actually play in actual game-like situations against another team's number ones, another team's first string. Because against the Cleveland Browns, they mostly rested their starters. Now, there are a couple of young guys that were drafted, like Mason Graham played, Dylan Sampson, one of the running backs that they drafted, who was the SEC Player of the Year last year. Those guys played, which is understandable. They're rookies. Rookies should play in preseason games in my mind. But I want to see game-like situation for the starters for the Panthers against another team's starters. And that's the reason why I think it's good that the Carolina Panthers, at least with joint practice, they got to see other teams play. They got to see another mix of what other teams can do. And Pat Jones, one of their outside linebackers, the free agent signing from the Minnesota Vikings, actually yesterday after practice, the joint practice with the Houston Texans, talked about not only playing against a high-level quarterback by C.J. Stroud, but being able just to see other people.
I think it's great seeing mobile quarterbacks like that. It's a new challenge. That's really how the game's going now. Everybody has a mobile quarterback. So I wouldn't even say a mobile quarterback. I would just say just a quarterback because all the quarterbacks are like that. But just seeing 2 different styles of offenses and just being able to go out there and play them, I feel like it's something that's going to be good to get us ready for the season.
That's the whole point of preseason, right? That's the whole point of having joint practice because, okay, you don't face them in a preseason game. You'll see it in practices as well. Good. I'm looking forward to seeing, by the way, coming up at 3:45, we'll talk about some specific players that I want to see. 3 players specifically that I want to see at 3:45 for the Panthers really get more involved. Get more involved as a whole tomorrow afternoon. By the way, that game's at 1 o'clock. 1 o'clock kickoff tomorrow. That game you can listen to over on Mix 101.5. That's number 2. Let's get to the number 3. Big 3.
Number 3.
Max, it's almost that time. We said yesterday, 2 weeks of the college football season here in the Triangle, and we actually saw earlier today at 9:19 a.m., 9:19, NC State football dropped their uniforms for the Week 1 opener against East Carolina. Mostly like all red uniform with the exception of the helmet white. Pretty cool script that says NC State. It's all over the NC State social medias and things like that. I think, first of all, one of the touches I like about the uniform, just because I think it's just cool. Not that I'm not a State fan, not a Duke fan, not a Carolina fan. But one of the touches about the uniform that I really liked was kind of underlying on the top of the uniform looks like the kind of the cap or the top of an acorn, which I thought was really cool because this is the city of Oaks and the acorn is you'll see it all around downtown Raleigh or in certain places, an actual acorn. And I thought that was kind of cool that they implemented part of that. And they actually wrote City of Oaks on the back, which I thought was kind of neat. It was a neat little touch for Week 1. Max, I know you are an NC State grad. I want to know what your thoughts are on the NC State uniform that they're going to display in a couple weeks.
Meh.
Oh,
Yeah,
you're just kind of indifferent?
It's fine. I mean, the script text is, I guess, it's a little different, but
yeah, it is.
Looks pretty. It's just a standard NC State football uniform to me. It's got the 3 Adidas stripes on the shoulders, which I've never been super crazy about. I mean, I've never been super crazy about almost any of the Adidas uniforms they've put out, especially for football. It's fine. I like that they're putting a new twist on it, but
I will say I like the stripe that they did on the side of the pants. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of geek out over uniforms a little bit.
I like the acorns. That's cool. The City of Oaks touch. I like that. But
that was a cool little touch. You know what? East Carolina should do next week at 2:52 p.m. on a day. They should drop the uniform that they're wearing at 2:52.
Yeah, shot back across the bow.
Yeah, Wake Forest should always drop their news at 3:36. Should always do it. Panthers 7:04 a.m. Drop your news every single time. If you're out there in App, I think it's 814, right, in the western part of the state. 814.
I want to say 828, or is that New York?
Oh, I'm sorry, 828, not 814. 828. My apologies on that. Good Lord. 8:28 a.m. every day. App State should drop their stuff.
It's crazy that these are all real times and none of these area codes have the second digit like more than a 6.
Yeah, I know. For some reason, I was thinking 984, which is the second, anyway. The second Raleigh area code. Nonetheless, the NC State, they show their uniforms that they're going to wear in their season opener against ECU. Anyway, I just think it's really, really cool. It's the Draft with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan. Dennis Cox sitting in for Tim Donnelly this afternoon. ESPN put out a ranking of all the position groups in the entire NFL. They broke it down to like 10 major position groups. I'll tell you one for the Carolina Panthers that is extremely underrated and underappreciated. Next.
When it comes to restoring cars, Diego's got skills. And with Total Wireless in his corner, the whole world sees them. With the dual camera system on his new iPhone 13, he can take amazing car photos and post them on the fly with super fast 5G, and even turn this hobby into a full-time gig. His claim to fame? Claiming iPhone 13 with 5G on us. Get iPhone 13 with 5G on us when you switch to the Total 5G or 5G Plus Unlimited 3-month plan. Total Wireless, in your corner. For limited time while supplies last. Valid in store. Device taxes and fees may apply. Requires port in and ID verification. Restrictions apply.
Bank of America is the nation's leading business lender, and we're ready to help with your next goal here in the Triangle. That's why we have over 3,700 local business specialists across the country. Because with the right team, your business and community prosper. What would you like the power to do? Learn more at bankofamerica.com/local business. Bank of America, official bank of FIFA World Cup 2026. Bank of America Corporation, all rights reserved.
Sports can be unpredictable. Your elevator shouldn't be. That's why you need Metro Elevator, Raleigh's hometown team for expert commercial elevator service. Locally owned and operated, we specialize in keeping your building moving with top-tier repair, maintenance, modernization, and installation. Our highly trained technicians deliver fast, responsive service to ensure your elevators run smoothly. No surprises, just results. Trust Raleigh's own Metro Elevator to keep you moving. Learn more at metro-elevator.com/Raleigh.
Genie log, day 15,824.
Powerball jackpot's over $550 million now. I'll be stuck in this little lamp forever with nothing but all this stupid gold and rare gems. A gold-plated motorcycle? Sure does a lot of good when you live in a 10x10 magic lamp. Come find me. I'm at latitude 36.06.
Grant your own wishes. The Powerball jackpot is over $550 million. Must be 18 to play. Approximate jackpot odds are 1 in 293 million. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
Backs with the real throwbacks here. Getting jiggy with it. Will Smith. I like it. It's the Drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan. Dennis Cox sitting in for Tim Donnelly this afternoon. Max Gorin on the 1s and 2s over there. I know a lot of us, including myself, say us in the media and even fans alike listening, but when we talk about the Carolina Panthers this offseason and the improvements that they made, we talk about for example, the additions that they made at wide receiver, drafting Teteroa McMillan, drafting Jimmy Horn Jr., the signing Hunter Renfrow, adding Mitchell Evans as a 5th-round pick. And then we also look at all the additions that they made on defense. And then we look at the roster now compared to last year, and we say, overall, this is an improved roster, but there still is a long way to go. Now, what this roster, in terms of what they are this season, may not be what a lot of these young players are projected to be probably in 2-3 years from now, because again, a lot of these guys that are brought in this season are relatively young players that still have growth potential, especially obviously the guys that they drafted last year and this year. You expect Xavier Legette to be better. You expect Teteroa McMillan not only to be hopefully good, if not great this year, but continue to ascend as a player who's still really, really young. Same thing with their quarterback, Bryce Young. But one of the additions that they made this offseason that I feel like we've neglected to talk about a little bit is the addition of Rico Dowdle at running back. Because we all know what Chuba Hubbard can do. We saw him last year in 15 games put up nearly 1,200 yards. And he had a little bit of a quad injury last year, which I think he probably, if the team was in contention for a playoff spot, probably could have pushed through. But you know what? Let's be smart with it. There's 2 games left. You're out of it. Don't want anything long-term, especially since they signed into a contract extension during the season last year. So ESPN put out a list today. They ranked all the positional groups across the NFL. Now, again, these are positional group rankings, not individual players, but position groups when you look at the whole. So, for example, you look at offensive line as a whole, not just the starters, but what about depth as well? Same thing with quarterback, receiver, tight end. They did running backs, they did safeties, corners, off-ball linebacker, edge rushers, interior defensive line. All right, so and then specialists. So 10 position groups as a whole. And there was one that particularly stuck out to me. Now, some of these I feel like are justified. Like they had the Panthers wide receiver core 23rd in the NFL, which in my eyes makes a ton of sense because you have a ton of just unproven players at wide receiver outside of Adam Thielen. Hunter Renfrow, 2021, we saw what he can do. But that was 2021. We don't know what he can really be yet in terms of coming back from the ulcerative colitis and all those kinds of things. Xavier Legette, ton to prove. McMillan's a rookie. Horn's a rookie. Coker's second-year player. A lot of, again, just simply unknowns. So to me, that makes sense. But I got to the running backs, which, again, Chuba Hubbard was 8th in the NFL last year with just under 1,200 yards rushing. And they also added Rico Dowdle, who had over 1,000 yards rushing last year and was 12th in the NFL with 1,079 yards. So in this backfield for the Carolina Panthers, just looking at rushing numbers, the 8th highest rusher from last year and the 12th highest rusher from last year. And they drafted ETN out of Georgia to be like the third running back on the team, but nonetheless. ESPN ranked their running back room as 28th in the NFL. 28th. I'll say it one more time for the people in the back. They ranked the running back room 28th in the NFL. Exactly. I'm sorry, what are y'all looking at? What are y'all looking at? Now, I'll throw this out there. I will say this. In terms of pass catching and that dynamic among the running backs, isn't the most explosive. Chuba Hubbard, not the biggest contributor in the passing game. Rico Dowdle, I think, can maybe add a little bit to that. But, again, we're not talking about some of the top-end tier guys that we see like a Jahmyr Gibbs can do, which, by the way, Detroit with Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery rated number 1. That makes perfect sense. Atlanta was ranked number 2 with Bijan Robinson. Make sure I say the name correctly. And Tyler Algier, who both have the ability to both be effective in the run and passing games. Philadelphia, you got Saquon Barkley, Christian McCaffrey in San Francisco, along with other guys that they can plug into their system. Philly was 4, San Francisco's 5. But then I look ahead, and okay, Derrick Henry in Baltimore, they're 5th in the NFL. But again, running back position group as a whole, 28th in the NFL were the Carolina Panthers. You know who's ranked ahead of them at 25th? The New York Giants. Now, they drafted Cam Scadaboo. I remember it was day 2 of the draft out of Arizona State. Fun pick. But he's a rookie. He's unproven. I think Max, you pointed out to me before the show that he's actually dealing with an injury right now. So completely unknown. You know who the leading rusher is currently on their roster? Devin Singletary. You know where Devin Singletary finished in rushing in the NFL last year? 50th. 50th in the league. He had 437 yards rushing last season. That leads their running back room. That's less than half of what Rico Dowdle did. That's basically a third of what Chuba Hubbard did. But that running back room is ranked higher. Kick rocks. For real.
I don't even know if that's the craziest one. I mean, there are a lot of crazy inclusions ahead of the Panthers on this list.
Oh, for sure. I mean, for example, we'll go into the New England Patriots, 19th among running backs. Ramondre Stevenson, not a bad running back at all. He was 26th in the NFL in rushing last season. He had 801 yards. 801. That's 2/3 of what Chuba did. This is something that I have to keep in mind, is that it's just kind of easy to write the Panthers off, and understandably so. I mean, look at the last 7 seasons for this team and all the turnover that they've had with coaches, quarterbacks, front office, you name it. Been a ton of turmoil. But you can't downplay the one thing that they truly were able to do last season on a consistent basis, which was run the football. And not only do you have your leading rusher come back from last year, you added another 1,000-yard rusher to the mix. Like, that's a pretty solid 1-2 combo. Now, again, I'll throw in there as well. Are they the most elite when it comes to in the passing game? No, they're not. They're not Christian McCaffrey. They're not Saquon. They're not a Bijan Robinson. And that's fair. And that's the reason why Jahmyr Gibbs, that's the reason why those guys in their running back rooms are ranked top 5, top 6 in the league, according to this ESPN ranking.
It's very interesting. I'd like to know the methodology behind the rankings. It's clear for a bunch of these teams, they're very high on whatever rookies they brought in. Like, for example, the Raiders are ranked 11th. Like, I know Ashton Genty had a really dominant final year of college. It was just him and Raheem Mostert, who I think is like a few years on the wrong side of 30 at this point. And Ashton Genty, so far through, granted, it was a preseason game, pretty sure he has -1 career NFL rushing yards. So to rank that 11th versus the Panthers, who again have 2,000-yard rushers at 28, to me does not make any sense at all.
None whatsoever. None whatsoever. As much as we've talked about the wide receiver group for this Panthers team, we're going to dive more into it here in a little while. And obviously, there's quarterback rankings as well. And there's a couple things that actually, not just this ESPN ranking, which I'm going to kind of give a little bogus to, but there's actually some other polls out there that involve NFL coaches and NFL executives about how they feel about Bryce Young. We'll actually dive into that at Football at 4. But when you have a team where its run offensive line was ranked 10th in the NFL in terms of run block win rate, 10th, and then you add in the guys that were able to not only exceed expectations for rushing last year. For example, Chuba Hubbard was actually one of the highest rated players in the entire NFL among running backs in terms of yards over expected on a per carry basis. Look at some of the advanced numbers. For example, when you have a run, depending on what the offense line was doing, the yards expected, let's say, was 4. He was getting 4.5 to 5. He was actually getting more yards than what was expected last year. To me, that's signs of a good, consistent running back if he's able to pick up more yards than what's expected. So, yeah, there's going to be a lot of people writing off the Carolina Panthers early on this season. And you know what? It's justified. In my eyes, it's justified based off the last 7 years. But you can't downplay the thing that they actually do well.
Yeah. I mean, it just feels like an uninformed take to have them that low. Just kind of looking at the overall team, like, oh, they went 5-12 last year, and there's no, I guess, per se, big names in the backfield. But there's no way you can look at the highlights, the eye test, or the stats and come to the conclusion that it's the 4th or 5th worst running back room in the NFL. I'm sorry. Call me biased all you want. There's no chance that is the truth, the objective truth.
8th highest rusher in the NFL last year, 12th highest rusher in the NFL last year are on the same team. And apparently, they're only the 28th best running back group in the entire NFL. It's The Drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan. Dennis Cox sitting in for Tim Donnelly this afternoon. Yeah, Football 4, there's a conversation we need to have about Bryce Young and about how people in the actual NFL, not media pundits, but people in the actual NFL feel about Bryce Young. That's going to be coming up at Football 4. But on the other side, Max, there are people in the college sports world that need to be given their flowers. Dean's List next.
Hey, it's Tim Donnelly here telling you all about Mainer Service Company. Right now is a great time to think about cooling maintenance for your cooling system. If we're being honest, there's one better time than right now to get your cooling maintenance taken care of. And that's 3 months ago, 4 months ago, before it started getting unbearably hot. But the second best time is right now. Have Mainer Service Company come out, check out your system, make sure it's running well. You've probably been running it a lot over the last few weeks, few months, because it's been so North Carolina summer around here. And that's why you want to make sure things are running smooth. It's one way you can prevent the big problems to your cooling system from happening in the future. And it's not just cooling. You can also get them to look at your heating, plumbing, electrical. They are experts at it all. Mainer Service Company. Give them a call right now, 919-361-0993, or visit them online at mainerservices.com.
So, you found the one and want to get married? Next step, you need the ring. And not just any ring, the perfect engagement sparkle that exemplifies your love. Bailey's Fine Jewelry is here to help. Our diamond experts, wide selection of high-quality diamonds, and financing make saying I do easy. We guarantee you'll love the ring or your money back. You're invited to see why Bailey's has been voted best place to buy your diamonds. Visit us today in-store or at baileybox.com to find out more.
If you're 55 or older and into that whole saving money thing, T-Mobile has an exclusive phone and internet bundle just for you. Right now, get 2 unlimited phone lines plus 5G home internet for just $30 each per month with AutoPay, plus taxes and fees. And with 5G home internet, setup is easy with just 1 cord and no technician needed, which is great if you're also into that whole keeping it simple thing. Switch now and experience the best mobile network in the U.S. Visit your local store to start saving. T-Mobile, it's better over here.
Based on analysis by Ookla Speed Test Intelligence data Q4 2024 to Q1 2025. Ookla trademarks used under license. Unlimited on our network. Customers on voice plan may notice speeds lower than other customers and further reduction if using more than 50 gigs a month due to data prioritization. Video streams and SD on this plan. Home internet pricing after $20 in monthly bill credits plus $5 per line without autopay. Debit or bank account required. See 5G device coverage and access details at T-Mobile.com.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hey folks, Dennis Cox here for Raleigh Weight Loss Center. If you've struggled with your weight like I have, or bounced from one fad diet to the next, you need to listen to this. I can proudly say I lost nearly 20 pounds in 2 weeks thanks to Raleigh Weight Loss Center, and that was just the start. The program helps you reset your metabolism naturally. No steroids, no shots, no HGH, no side effects, just your body losing a half pound to a pound per day and doing it in a way where you can maintain that goal weight. It's frustrating when you feel like you're doing the right things with zero results. Trust me, I've been there, but this is the lightest I have been in years. My clothes fit better, I have more energy when I'm active and playing sports, and I'm sleeping better. Visit RaleighWeightLossCenter.com or give them a call, 919-897-7506. Again, RaleighWeightLossCenter.com, or again, give them a call, 919-897-7506. 919-897-7506. Start that weight loss journey now. Results may vary.
With Robinhood, not only can you trade individual stocks and ETFs, you can also seamlessly buy and sell crypto at low costs. Trade all in one place. Get started now on Robinhood. Trading crypto involves significant risk. Crypto trading is offered through an account with Robinhood Crypto LLC. Robinhood Crypto is licensed to engage in virtual currency business activity by the New York State Department of Financial Services. Crypto held through Robinhood Crypto is not FDIC insured or SIPC protected. Investing involves risk, including loss of principal. Securities trading is offered through an account with Robinhood Financial LLC, member SIPC, a registered broker-dealer.
All right, for all you music fans out there, real quick, before we get into the Dean's List. Rascal Flatts is coming to Lenovo Center on January 15th, 2026. So we're talking about early next year. Rascal Flatts is coming to the Lenovo Center on January 15th, 2026 for the Life is a Highway tour with special guests Chris Lane and Lauren Elena. Text the keyword MUSIC, MUSIC, to 919-860-5326 for your chance to win a pair of tickets. Again, text MUSIC to 919-860-5326. 919-860-5326. Text the keyword MUSIC for a chance to win a pair of tickets to see Rascal Flatts coming to the Lenovo Center on January 15th, 2026. It's The Drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan. Dennis Cox sitting in for Tim Donnelly this afternoon. Max Gorham producing the show today. Max, it's time to give some love. College sports, they're starting to get underway, and we got to give some love. Let's hit the Dean's List. As college students are starting to move into their dorms, I know there are some students that have already been moving into NC State. So shout out to all the kids that are moving in right now, or if you're a parent out there that's taking your kid to college, it's a pretty special time. So enjoy the move-in days, and also avoid the traffic if you can. Avoid those areas if you're not trying to move in. But that means with all the move-ins, Max, going on, that we have games already starting. We actually had an upset in women's soccer yesterday. Upset. Number 1 North Carolina, reigning national champions in women's soccer, got upset yesterday by Tennessee 2-0 to start the season. I'm not going to sit here and press the panic mode on UNC women's soccer. They're one of the best programs in all of college sports consistently every single year. But an upset's an upset. Also on the Dean's List, Max, Duke women's soccer took down Penn State 3-2 yesterday out in Durham. But in particular, Mia Minestrella, might be Maya, hope I'm not saying it incorrect, but Minestrella for Duke soccer had the game tying goal to make it 2-2, and then in the second half had the game winning goal to make it 3-2. Oh, also she assisted on the first goal as well. So in a 3-2 win, 2 goals and an assist. Is she the Seth Jarvis of Duke women's soccer here, Max?
Perhaps the Messi of Duke women's soccer. Those goal involvements, they'd be happy to have her in the Premier League now that that's back today.
We might touch on that a little bit later on. But nonetheless, Minestrella, Maya, whatever you pronounce your first name, 2 goals and an assist. You're on the Dean's List. You are on the Dean's List. Actually, real quick, we'll stay here in Duke here real fast. I'm going to put Duke field hockey on the list here, Max. Duke field hockey on the Dean's List. Duke senior Elena McVeigh scored 4 goals for the U.S. U21 women's field hockey national team as part of the Junior Pan American Games. They had won 11-0 over Guyana. 11-0. And Duke senior Elena McVeigh, 4 goals in that win. 4 goals as they finished off group play. They had wins in group play. They had wins against Mexico, Chile, and Guyana. McVeigh finished the opening round with 9 goals. 9 goals. And she's not the only Duke player that's playing in it, by the way. Madison Beach, Macy Suzix, hope I'm saying that name correctly, are also part of that team as well. My assumption is how well, I actually didn't fully check the roster. I should have, Max. It's on me. Pat the chest. It's my bad. I should have looked and see if North Carolina has players on that team as well, because North Carolina field hockey is stacked. But I did see the headline with a couple of Duke players as well, so I want to make sure I got Duke players involved in this too. And also, one that I missed last week, Max. One that I missed last week for NC State. I missed this last week, maybe because I was filling in for Adam. I think, when times you're filling in. But NC State distance runner Grace Hartman and gymnast Chloe Negrete, hopefully again I'm saying the last name correctly, have been selected to represent the ACC as nominees for the 2025 NCAA Woman of the Year Award. It was actually announced by the conference last week. I missed it. The award was established back in 1991 to honor graduating female student athletes who have distinguished themselves throughout their college careers in areas of academic achievement, athletic excellence, service, and leadership. 2 NC State female athletes, part of that representation. Just to be nominated in and of itself isn't it really is an accomplishment. The fact that you are spoken of for these types of awards puts you in a pretty special category.
It's a nice honor to have.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a tremendous honor to have. Last one I'm going to put on the Dean's List here, Max. Do you have anyone you want to throw on the Dean's List?
I just wanted to shout out, we mentioned women's soccer got back underway yesterday. And a couple of teams are really excited for football to be back because they won by a touchdown, 7-0. Shout out to Vanderbilt and the ACC's own Stanford women's soccer team both winning 7-0 yesterday. Really wanting football to be back. Got the extra point in there as well.
There you go. Not going for 2. Playing it safe. Kick the extra point. My final one here in the Dean's List, Max. Skyboxes. So at Kenan Stadium, they are now offering an exciting new view for the 2025 college football season, Max. I don't know if you saw this.
Is this like the suites from last year?
Well, they're calling it the Kenan Skybox. Located on the 5th floor at Kenan. It's a premium space. So they sold out all their tickets the entire season. UNC announced that. They sold out all their season tickets, all their single game tickets. They sold out. So guess what? All right, let's find another place to put people. We got the Skybox. Kenan Skybox. And I will say this. I actually went to multiple games last year at North Carolina. Went to a couple games sitting in the stands. I like to go to games and obviously sit in the press box because the ability to talk to people and the access to stats and some of those things like that and go to press conferences and such. But sometimes I like to go to a game and sit in the stands just so I can literally hear what fans are saying. Because I feel like it gives me a better pulse of what people are thinking about the program. And I went to the game, I remember the home opener against Charlotte last year, which was week 2 of the season. Because remember, they beat Minnesota on the road to start the season. And then the next week, they had their home opener against Charlotte. And it was a beautiful Saturday afternoon. It really was a nice day. Kenan was barely over half full, maybe 60%. Which to me, I was like, this is the home opener of the college football season. I know Max Johnson got hurt last week, but it's still your home opener. You're 1-0 on the season. And the stadium was 60% full. Now, I understand they're playing Charlotte that doesn't have the biggest fan base themselves in the world, but it stood out to me the fact that there weren't a lot of people there. I would have expected 75%, 80%. Because again, super nice day. Wasn't that hot. I expected more. I simply expected more. But now this upcoming season, good luck finding a ticket, apparently. I can only imagine what the ticket prices are on that opener against TCU, Max. That's the Dean's List. We can dismiss class, by the way.
You could only imagine, but that's something we could check, though.
Max, let's get research on that, all right? Let's get research on that. While research is on that, I'm going to tell you about this here real fast. Dennis Cox here for my friends over at Law Tigers. Folks, you talk about that time of year in the sports calendar and the sports world, but it's that time of year is approaching as well. As the weather cools down, you're going to see a lot more motorcyclists out there on the road, especially for a lot of people, including myself, that like to go visit the western part of the state, the 828. You see a lot of people out there on their bikes out there on the road. And keep in mind, especially if you're going to do some scenic riding around or scenic driving this fall, still make sure you're paying attention to the road. And as a motorcycle rider, try and keep your safe distance as best as you can away from those distracted drivers, because we've all been on the road around a distracted driver before, and things can get a little bit dicey. And that's where Law Tigers steps in for you if you're injured in a motorcycle accident and it wasn't your fault. Give Law Tigers a call, 1-800-LAW-TIGERS, even before you contact the insurance company. Insurance companies, we all know, folks, they just want to give people the least amount of money possible. Let's be honest. Call it what it is. Law Tigers, they're part of that motorcycle riding community. They are there to represent you because they know what your bike and your gear are worth, but they also understand what it's like to possibly go through an accident and the risk that you're being out there on the road. Again, they're motorcycle riders too. Your case evaluation with Law Tigers, it's always free. And your case does not get settled until your case is closed. So they don't get paid a dime until your case settles. Simple as that. Call 1-800-LAW-TIGERS, North Carolina's motorcycle injury lawyers. Law Tigers is a network of independent law firms who are members of the American Association of Motorcycle Injury Lawyers. Law Tigers is not a law firm. It's The Drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan. Dennis Cox sitting in for Tim Donnelly this afternoon. We have a preseason game tomorrow for the Carolina Panthers. I'm going to give you the names of 3 players. 3 players that I want to see more involved tomorrow for the Panthers. 3 players next.
It's bow time. Something new just dropped at Bojangles. Take the bold taste of a crispy golden chicken supreme that's been seasoned to perfection, then add dill pickles, Carolina Gold barbecue sauce, and a toasted bun that's great on the go. What do you get? You get a Bo's Bird Dog. In fact, you can grab 2 of them for $5. So when you're on the go, headed to practice, or need a snack, grab a Bo's Bird Dog. Hurry in before they're gone. Available for a limited time. It's Bo time.
There's no time like Bo time, but sometimes it's go time. No time to stop, but the perfect time for a Bojangles Bird Dog. A seasoned to perfection Bojangles Chicken Supremes, dill pickles, and Carolina Gold barbecue sauce, all tucked inside a toasted bun. Great on the go. Try 2 Bird Dogs for just $5 or 2 Bird Dog combo for just $8.25. Available for limited time only. When you're hungry for flavor and value, it's Bo time.
Stay informed with The Rundown, the daily newsletter from High School OT that delivers high school sports news and insights straight to your inbox. Brought to you by High School OT and powered by our sponsors, First Carolina Bank and Smith Douglas Homes. Subscribe to The Rundown at highschoolot.com.
Hey, friends. Paul Lyhander from 99.9 The Fan for FanDuel. On Tuesday, August 26th, it's FanDuel Futures Day. It's a new holiday for football fans. 24 hours of deals on all your football season predictions. So take a flyer on the MVP race. Maybe Lamar Jackson of Baltimore runs away with it. Maybe you're a little bit more partial to Buffalo's Josh Allen, whoever it is. Crown your champion in August. Maybe Kansas City can go back one more time. Or maybe it's Detroit's time to shine. Or parlay your division winner dark horses. Carolina Panthers, anyone? Mark your calendars. It's your day for your hunches, your hot takes, your calls, and your odds. Visit the FanDuel app today and start planning your futures bets now, because Futures Day is one day and one day only. FanDuel, play your game. 21 plus and present in North Carolina. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
Max, we're less than a week away. It's back. The second annual Numbers Game live show presented by Sharky's Place Sports Bar and Grill takes place on Thursday next week, August 21st. Thursday next week, the 21st. Perfect players will battle the clock at the Hilton Raleigh North Hills, a fabulous hotel for all your needs. Watch as we crown our champion live on YouTube. Special thanks to Onsite AV, a full-service event production company, for supplying the sights and sounds of Numbers Game Live. Again, Thursday, August 21st. Again, you can watch on YouTube. Make sure you go on 99.9 The Fan on YouTube. Search 99.9 The Fan. Subscribe there, folks. Subscribe there. But if you actually want to come see the Numbers Game live and in person, text the keyword FAN, F-A-N, to 919-860-5326. Text FAN to 919-860-5326. That way you can sign up for our newsletter. By the way, sign up for our newsletter in general. Get cool information and stuff that's sent your way, including there'll be a code on the newsletter that comes out today. Code on the newsletter. 919-860-5326. Text the keyword FAN. 5 lucky people, along with the guests, will be able to attend the Numbers Game live. And the way to enter, you got to sign up for our newsletter. There's going to be a code right there on our newsletter. Read it. Follow the instructions, and that's how you enter to participate. If you already subscribed to our newsletter, awesome. You're good to go. Check the newsletter today. That way you can, if you, again, just want to come see the Numbers Game live and in person, be an audience, be a heckler. Don't shout out answers, though. Don't be that guy. But be part of the fun. Again, text the keyword FAN to 919-860-5326. Again, 5 lucky people and a guest will be able to attend the Numbers Game live. Numbers Game will be at 5:30 again today. We will have the Numbers Game, and that the prize today is a $25 gift card to Sharky's. Sharky's Place, Sports Bar and Grill. Again, that's coming up at 5:30 today. But tomorrow, Max, look at the Carolina Panthers from their first preseason game till now. We saw a lot of this. Obviously, we saw the starters play, the ones that were healthy in that first preseason game. Saw them play about 2 series each. about 12, 13 snaps roughly for each side of the football, which is what Dave Canales wanted to do. He wanted somewhere in that 8 to 12 range. And he did speak yesterday and also even after that game on Friday about he wants to see the starters maybe come back out for a third series. Again, depending on how many snaps, also just depending on how guys are feeling today after yesterday's joint practice with the Houston Texans. Generally, in those joint practices, the starters are going to get the lion's share of the reps because you're trying to get those guys prepared and ready for the season. So depending on how guys are feeling, and also Dave Canales has to make a decision as well, is that their final preseason game against Pittsburgh next week, how much do you want to balance and weigh in, okay, it's a little bit of a shorter week. You got to go from Saturday to Thursday. Shorter week. So that's all things you have to take into consideration. But there are 3 names, Max, 3 guys that I want to see get a little bit more involved this week. The first one, tight end Ja'Tavion Sanders. From what I saw, the times I got a chance to go to training camp, the mini camp and back in the summer as well, training camp, the times I got to see him at the Fan Fest. I even went to the first preseason game, so I went to all this stuff in person, and you can really, truly see how he transformed his body. He talked about about a week or so ago how last season he played at about 255 pounds. Still a big guy. I mean, he wasn't like fat by any means or like overweight or out of shape. That's just what his size was. That's what he played at last year. This offseason, he actually shed down to 238 pounds. And you can physically see it just in person with the quickness with his route running, how he's able to come in and out of breaks. And this guy is a natural pass catcher in the sense of this guy is a playmaking tight end, or at least has that potential. We saw that at different stretches, especially in the middle portion of the season last year when Tommy Tremble was dealing with some injuries. But then against Kansas City, we saw Ja'Tavion Sanders have a neck injury. He got upended, just landed on his head, had a neck injury. Thankfully, he was all right, but he missed a couple of weeks and just really wasn't the same in terms of his contributions after that point. But he got himself healthy. Actually, a big influence on that was the former tight end Jordan Matthews, who actually was a wide receiver initially in his career, was part of the practice squad mostly last year for the Carolina Panthers, who had moved to tight end, really taught him and coached him up on how to take care of his body, how to eat properly, and all those things. And you saw the body transformation. I'm hoping with more reps for the offense that we see Ja'Tavion Sanders get his hands on the ball with a couple targets coming his way. Just didn't have any targets just come his direction. So I would like to see him get involved a little bit more. As much as we want to spread the love out to all the wide receivers, I would like to see Ja'Tavion Sanders get involved in the passing game as well, because I think he could really be a vital piece, especially in the middle of the field. He's a tremendous athlete. And again, we saw the playmaking ability at flashing points last year. So I'd like to see him get a little bit more involved. And speaking of the wide receivers, that second player I'd like to see involved. It's not all offense, by the way. I got two offensive players and one defensive player. Xavier Legette. Let's not forget, he got booted out of the game on Friday last week. Only played about 5 or 6 snaps. I want to see him get his hands on the ball. This is a guy last year who, let's call it what it was, for the 32nd overall pick, had a disappointing season. He had a disappointing season last year. Under 500 yards. Now, he, again, dealt with a foot injury last year, had a little bit of a lingering wrist injury as well, so he really wasn't 100%. And then when they traded Deontay Johnson, they tried to make him an X receiver, which is someone that really plays on the line of scrimmage. His strength is being able to catch and run, yards after the catch. The foot is healthier after having a procedure this offseason. It seems like, from what I've seen in person, that he's catching the ball more naturally with his hands as opposed to trapping it to his body. His big thing is underneath crossing routes where he can catch and run, where hopefully Tetairoa McMillan or even Ja'Tavion Sanders can open up space for him in the middle of the field if they can take linebackers and safeties away. Well, and guess what? Underneath, this is where Xavier Legette, with his 4.39 speed and his 6'1" and 227-pound frame, running at that 4.39, 4.4, can catch and move and get his body upfield and get the yards after the catch. That's what we want to see from Xavier Legette. That's what I want to see, at least. When he's made some of his big plays in practice, it's been those kinds of plays. I seen you stay on the field. I want to see him actually get the ball in his hands. It's a big year for Xavier Legette. As much as we want to put on Tetairoa McMillan being that 8th overall pick about what he can provide to the wide receiving core, XL, man, it's a big year for you. Because I guarantee you, Hunter Renfrow coming for playing time. Jalen Coker coming for playing time. Let's not forget, Jalen Coker caught a touchdown last week because you got kicked out of the game. And because Tetairoa McMillan dropped a pass earlier. Literally the play before that should have been a touchdown. Jalen Coker took advantage of his opportunities. We see it. Coaches see it too. So XL, I want to see him get involved offensively a little bit more as well. I'd like to see these guys, again, Ja'Tavion Sanders, see if really get 2 or 3 targets each coming for those guys. For sure. And the final one, Trayvon Merrick. Trayvon Merrick, when I was able to get to camp, whether it's training camp, mini camp, especially at mini camp. Now, granted, they weren't playing with pads in mini camp back in the summertime. Mini camp's back in June. But I saw his knack for reading running plays and getting up towards the line of scrimmage to make tackles. Now, granted, you're not actually hitting during those sessions, but still, it's the read and reaction. I want to see more of that from him this second week. Because, again, new system for him, new teammates, new environment. You got the first game or first snaps and series out of the way last week against Cleveland. All right, now you're going against Houston. Let's see it a little bit more this week. He signed a big free agent contract this offseason, 3 years, $51 million. Trayvon Merrick actually did speak to the media yesterday. And one of the things that's going to help him in the run game is that interior defensive line for the Carolina Panthers, which has been bolstered this offseason. Derek Brown coming back from his injury, with the signings of Bobby Brown III, the signings of Tershawn Wharton, the drafting of Cam Jackson. They really did beef up the front of that line. And Trayvon Merrick actually gave some praise yesterday to the defensive front.
Yeah, man, they put pressure on that quarterback, so it makes, the lives of the DBs on the back end easier, having pressure, messing with his accuracy, messing up the timing, that all plays a big role into how DBs can cover and do that kind of stuff. So.
It also is important for these guys being Trayvon Merrick and the defense as a whole, is to face guys of high caliber on other teams. As much as, much praise and stuff as for Shedeur Sanders was in week 1, Shedeur Sanders was 3 of 7 for 30 yards against the Carolina Panthers starters. But the fact that you could go against a guy, the high caliber player like C.J. Stroud, who was the offensive rookie of the year back in 2023 in the NFL, it's nice to be able to get reps against those guys, and that's exactly what Trayvon Merrick talked about yesterday.
No, it's always great work. I think anytime you can go up against another team in practice, it's always going to be great work because it's not something you see, every day when you're going against your own team. So to have a guy like that, he's very good, like you said, and, we'll have some things to look at the tape and get better at, but it was good competing against him.
I want to see Trayvon Merrick get involved a little bit more, whether it's even in the passing game as well. If he's marking up on a tight end, get his hands on the ball or come up to the line of scrimmage and make a couple tackles, whatever it might be. I just want to see him get involved for sure. And I think he is someone that can help, believe it or not, even as a safety, help stabilize the run game a little bit, or the run defense, I should say, for the Carolina Panthers, because if the guys up front are eating up blockers, you're a little bit thin when it comes to inside linebacker with Christian Roseboom and Trevin Wallace and a bunch of unknowns behind him. That guy is someone that can come up in the box and help make plays towards the line of scrimmage as well. So those are 3 guys I'm looking forward to seeing for the Carolina Panthers tomorrow. Speaking of the Carolina Panthers, by the way, it's the Drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan. Dennis Cox sitting in for Tim Donnelly this afternoon. Max Gorn producing the show. If you missed any of the show, check it out on the Best of the Drive podcast. Best of the Drive with Tim Donnelly. Look at the podcast anywhere, Apple, Spotify, you name it. It's there. You also can find us on YouTube. 99.9 The Fan is a place where you can subscribe to 99.9 The Fan on YouTube. Hit the little notification bell. That way you don't miss anything that we put out. Hit the notification bell as well. That way you don't miss a single video that we produce, whether it's from The Drive, whether it's from The Adam Gold Show. Pack Therapy will be returning for all you NC State fans. We have the Canes Corner podcast with Adam Gold, myself and Chris Lee from WREL. We have the Panthers Playbook podcast. You don't miss anything. You don't miss anything there. But speaking of the Carolina Panthers, real quick, how do people around the NFL, I'm talking decision makers, coaches, general managers, how do they feel about Bryce Young? It's not that high. We'll discuss that in 3 minutes.
Hey, what do you say? John Forsland here from my friends at Buffalo Brothers. I live and work on both coasts, travel the country. Here's the deal. There's nothing like Buffalo Brothers. The best wings on the planet and a great place to watch all the big games. Visit all 5 Triangle locations for great specials, including half-price pizzas Monday through Friday, 4:30 to 6, and a $6 Bloody Mary on Sunday. Dine in, carry out, get it delivered. BuffBrothers.com. Aw, man, now I want wings.
Drivers who switch and save with Progressive could save hundreds. With that kind of money, you could go big time on a fancy water bottle with ultra titanium alloy metal. You're not sure why you need all that. I mean, it just holds water. But you're getting it anyway. Because if you're hiking near an active volcano and you accidentally drop the bottle into molten lava, your water will still be icy cold. Switch to Progressive and you could save big time. For water bottles. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, not available in all states. Potential savings will vary.
Still getting around to that fix on your car? You got this. On eBay, you'll find millions of parts guaranteed to fit. Doesn't matter if it's a major engine repair or your first time swapping your windshield wipers. eBay has that part you need, ready to click perfectly into place. For changes big and small. Loud or quiet. Find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. But you already know that. eBay. Things, people, love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Heineken Silver, world-class light beer with only 2.9 carbs and 95 calories. Why world-class? Because it has a crisp and superior taste. That's world-class. It has only 2.9 carbs and 95 calories. That's very world-class. So, if I'm seen drinking it, by association, am I world-class? Oh yeah, Heineken Silver, world-class light beer with only 2.9 carbs and 95 calories. Must be 21 plus to purchase. Enjoy Heineken responsibly.
I'm attorney Brian Ritchie. Workers' comp can be tricky, but my law firm will be on top of all the complicated paperwork and sneaky deadlines so that all of your I's are dotted and T's are crossed. If you've been hurt on the job, I'm on top of it. Contact us at ritchielaw.com.
Broadcasting live from the Lenovo Studios. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
I'm WRAL meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner. Less chances for rain today, but a little hotter. We could hit 90 degrees this afternoon. For the first time this month, we do have a 20 to 30% chance of a few storms developing. 73 overnight tonight, and the weekend not bad. Definitely feeling like August. Tomorrow's high 89 with a small chance for thunderstorms.
Weather update brought to you by Newcomb & Company, where your comfort is their business. Visit newcomb&company.com. 4 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones up 34 points to 44,946.
Let's move the chains. Time for football at 4.
It's the Drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan. Dennis Cox sitting in for Tim Donnelly this afternoon. Max Scoren producing the show. Hope everyone is hopefully getting a start to their weekend here very soon if you haven't already. And one of the things I hope you enjoy, especially if you're a Carolina Panthers fan or just a football fan in general, go enjoy some preseason football. Go watch it. By the way, real quick stat here for you, Max. The game on Friday last week between the Carolina Panthers and the Cleveland Browns at Bank of America, not only was it shown locally here in the Triangle on local television, but it was also shown on the NFL Network as well. The NFL Network simulcast the Carolina Panthers broadcast of that game. The preseason game averaged 2.2 million viewers, which is one of the highest rated preseason games ever for the NFL Network. A lot of that, the Shedeur Sanders factor. People wanted to see Shedeur, for sure. I just thought it was interesting. But guess what? A lot of people got to see the Carolina Panthers play. A lot of people got to see Bryce Young lead a touchdown drive on their second series of the game. Throw a touchdown pass to Jalen Coker. So a lot of people got to see that. Now, The Athletic does a survey every year. Mike Sando of The Athletic, who covers the NFL, does a survey every single year regarding quarterbacks. And that survey includes a panel of 50 voters. I'm going to kind of give the methodology here of this survey in terms of how players or how they rank quarterbacks in the NFL, these 50 voters. So it's a panel of 50 voters. Again, it's all anonymous. That way they can actually give really true evaluations of these players. The panel comprised of 6 general managers, 6 assistant GMs, 6 former general managers, 5 other NFL executives, 8 current head coaches, and 19 other coaches. Of the 19 other coaches, 15 of them coordinators. Offense, defense, and special teams. So it's a pretty good mix of people that, again, evaluate players, scout players, have to game plan against players. It's a pretty good mix of people, I should say. Now, part of this group, again, of the quarterbacks that are being ranked, they did not include rookies. Okay, so rookies are excluded from this. So you're not going to see Cam Ward. You're not going to see Tyler Shuck or any of these guys. So you've had to have played at least one season in the NFL. And they actually ranked 34 veterans into 5 different tiers. Now, the Tier 1 being the best, Tier 5 being the lowest. Tier 1 is a quarterback that can carry his team. This is how they describe it. A Tier 1 quarterback is a QB that can carry his team each week. The team wins because of him. He expertly handles pure passing situations, and he has no real holes in his game. Of course, you're going to get the Tier 1 guys being Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson. Who else was part of this? Matthew Stafford. These were the guys that were ranked Tier 1. Now, Matt Stafford, the bottom of that Tier 1, like just barely above Tier 2. He had 26 Tier 1 votes, 23 Tier 2 votes, and 1 Tier 3 vote. Now, there's a couple guys that were straight unanimous. Patrick Mahomes was straight unanimous with 50. Joe Burrow, same thing, straight unanimous with 50 votes. Believe it or not, Josh Allen had only 47 Tier 1 votes, believe it or not, despite being MVP. Lamar Jackson, same thing, only 46. So I scrolled down to see, okay, well, where's Bryce Young? Now, a Tier 2 quarterback is a quarterback who can carry his team sometimes, but maybe not always consistently, can handle pure passing situations and doses, and or possesses other dimensions that are special enough to elevate him above Tier 3. These are Jaden Daniels, Justin Herbert, Jared Goff, C.J. Stroud, Jalen Hurts, Baker Mayfield, Dak Prescott, Jordan Love, Brock Purdy. So now we're down to, that's 14 QBs. Now we get into tier number 3. Again, these are the middle of the pack guys. Again, Tier 3 out of 5. A Tier 3 quarterback, again, according to The Athletic and their study, again, these are 50 panelists, 50 voters that are front office executives and coaches that are part of this group that are making this selection. Not media pundits, actual people involved in football. A Tier 3 quarterback is a legitimate starter, but needs either a heavier run game and or a defensive component to win. A lower volume drop-back passing offense suits these players best. So these are, again, ranking. Kyler Murray, Aaron Rodgers, Tua Tagovailoa, Trevor Lawrence, Geno Smith, Bo Nix, Sam Darnold, Drake May, Caleb Williams, and 24th ranked overall according to these tiers, Bryce Young. Bryce Young ranked 24th. Again, this isn't just media people saying this. These are actual people in football and how they perceive current NFL quarterbacks.
I think the key word there, and you mentioned in the description of the tier, is the defensive component. Mm-hmm. Obviously, based on the Panthers' track record, especially last year, I think it's fair to put Bryce in that tier, especially if that is the parameters that they need the run game or defensive component. They have the run game. We already ranted on this earlier in the show about how the Panthers running back room was underrated. I think it's fair. I mean, as 24 overall, like, could he definitely exceed that this year? Like, probably. Sure. Yeah, we're hoping for that, as Panthers fans are hoping for that for sure.
Well, we'll get into that here in a second, because I think that's exactly what we're leading into. So this is how the vote breakdown took place this year on Bryce Young. So he got 28 Tier 3 votes, all right? 28 Tier 3 votes. He had 20 Tier 4 votes. Tier 4 in the NFL, by the way, a quarterback who can be unproven, maybe not enough information, depending on how the voters think about it. So maybe guys, like for example, you'll see like a Michael Penix Jr. as part of a Tier 4. Or they're a veteran who ideally would not start all 17 games. So you had a lot of 28 voters said tier 3, 20 voters said tier 4. One voter actually even said a tier 5 for Bryce Young, and one voter even thought actually a tier 2. So his average rating, 3.4. So barely making the cut line inside of tier 3. Again, this is how NFL people view Bryce Young. And I'll read some of the notes that were issued by The Athletic regarding the players and what, again, coaches and executives think of Bryce Young. One coach said, quote, "Don't get fooled by the final games of a season when you are out of it and the teams you are playing are out of it." This is what a veteran coach said. That is where the production came from. Everyone is excited about it. Now you start the season over again. You're playing teams that are game planning seriously, that have a lot to play for, and it's different. So that's what a coach said. That's what a coach said. Veteran coach said.
Yeah,
that.
I don't think that's really fair. But
That's fair.
I'll keep going.
Let me continue. An NFL executive on an AFC team cast a lone tier 2 vote for Bryce Young, saying this: "I think he has taken a step. He has learned to play at his size in the National Football League. He was a drop away from beating Philly. If he comes back in with the same type of play, which I think with the same coach and coordinator, you will either see better and more consistent play." But there are a lot of voters as well who also question how much better Bryce Young could actually get, suggesting that tier 3 actually could be Bryce Young's ceiling. This is what a defensive coordinator said, Max. "I was watching him in pregame, and I'm like, the ball does not jump off his hand very well, and he's small. I just don't think there's enough talent to really become a tier 2, to be honest." Now, again, this is what coaches are saying. There is one general manager that does say this about the environment around Bryce Young. The environment around Bryce Young was better when he got reinserted into the starting lineup, which was huge. And then Dave Canales, the head coach, stopped calling the game with handcuffs. Canales was super conservative, and then Bryce had to be in third and long the whole game. He's a great kid, so I want him to be successful. I'm optimistic. I will put him in 3, and then we'll see how far he can go from there. But again, this is what coaches, executives feel about Bryce Young, is that, yes, there might be some growth potential, but he really hasn't shown it yet. And they also brought up a stat here as well. The last 10 games of the year last year where Bryce started for the Carolina Panthers, the team was 14th in the NFL in offensive points scored in those 10 games. Pretty good. Again, put you in the middle of the pack, but still top half of the league, but middle of the pack. His previous 10 starts for Bryce Young, the Panthers were 32nd in offensive points scored. So what are you is basically what they're saying, Max.
Yeah. I think the last, was it an executive or a coach, or the last one that you mentioned that said he was in tier 3 but with room to grow?
Yeah, that's a general manager.
I think that was the fairest assessment. I take issue with the first one that said basically that teams were not really seriously game planning against the Panthers during that stretch last year.
I think that coach is what he's saying is that when you're kind of out of it at the end of the year, you might not put as much effort into it.
Well, I understand that, but like, which games is he really talking about? Like maybe the game against the Cardinals and the Cowboys last year when Bryce came back, but they played the Chiefs tight, and they were in the middle of the hunt for the number 1 seed in the AFC. Well, they played the Eagles well, who were eventually went to the Super Bowl. Obviously, were playing for seeding. The Falcons were fighting for the playoffs in Week 17, and they beat them in Atlanta in overtime. So I don't think that those teams are quote unquote out of it and not game planning as seriously against the Panthers. Like they don't take them seriously when they were fighting tooth and nail to try to win every game and improve their positioning.
That's fair. I think that's fair. But let's be honest, that's what one person said. What the votes say is that they think he's a tier 3, tier 4 level player in the NFL. And this is a guy that's a number 1 overall pick.
Yeah, at this point in his career, based on what he's shown, I think that's fair. But I agree that there is growth potential for him to move up this season if he can show what we believe he has and what he kind of flashed late in the season last year.
And he has to. And he has to. This is a make or break year for Bryce Young. I told Tim this last week that that Dave Canales can only pull the cord or press the button or pull the trigger on benching Bryce one time. And he already used that last year. You can't use that as a tactic again to try and, reignite him or whatever it is. Once you set him down again, you're done. Simple as that. This is a true prove-it year for Bryce Young because the organization has to make a decision after this year. Because Bryce Young is going to be eligible for a contract extension at the end of this season. Plain and simple. They have to make a decision. If Bryce Young, if they feel like that he can be the guy of the future, then you're probably going to break the bank for him this offseason. You're going to have to sign him. And you want to sign him now as opposed to waiting another year. If he has another great year, then guess what? The price only goes up. You don't want to be like Jerry Jones in Dallas trying to sign players. You don't want to be that. You want to try and get on it early. But this is the decision that the organization is going to have to make this upcoming year. Is Bryce Young the player that we saw, especially those last 6 games? Is he truly that player? Or was it just a hot stretch? Now, we want him, if you're a Panthers fan or someone that, covers the team, you want him to be that player that we saw the last 6 games of last year. You want that. I would like to see it because I would like to have zero doubts at quarterback. It's been musical chairs at quarterback for the Panthers for the last 7 years. Especially since 2018 and 2019 when Cam Newton got hurt. It's just been a revolving door of guys. They spent so many draft picks to try and fill this one spot. I will say about this, though, with the amount of draft capital that was used to get Bryce Young, the 2 firsts, the 2 seconds, and DJ Moore, you hope that Bryce Young is better than just a tier 3 quarterback. You want him to be in the tier 2s with the Daniels, Herbert, Goff, Stroud, Hurts, Mayfield, Prescott, Love, Purdy. A tier 2 quarterback, again, this is how they define it. A tier 2 QB that can carry his team sometimes, but not as consistently. He can handle pure passing situations and doses and or possesses other dimensions that are special enough to elevate him above tier 3. Maybe he has a hole or two in his game. That's where you expect Bryce Young to be by the end of this season, especially for a guy that was drafted number 1 overall, especially how people in the league view the guy that was drafted 1 spot after him, C.J. Stroud, as the 9th rated guy in the NFL, according to these tier ranking. Bryce Young, 24. C.J. Stroud, tied for 9th with Jalen Hurts. Again, that's how executives and coaches around the league view it. Not me, media pundits, and dudes talking into microphones. This is how the league views these players.
C.J. Stroud, equitable with Jalen Hurts.
That's how these people see it.
Look, I guess they work in the NFL and they're GMs and executives, but
they make decisions, not me. Again, I'm going based off what the league is saying. And again, these are front office people and coaches that are in the league. This is how they view it. Just saying. It's the Drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan. Dennis Cox sitting in for Tim Donnelly this afternoon. Max Scoren producing the show. By the way, the NFL is not the only season that's upcoming. We're less than 2 weeks away from football kicking off here in the Triangle. What's an ideal start for NC State? What about Duke? What's an ideal start for North Carolina? What's an ideal start for the first 4 games for the 3 schools in the Triangle? Also, we're going to try to make some money on a ladder challenge. That coming up next.
You've heard the perfect scores on air. We're bringing our champions to the stage. It's our 2nd annual Numbers Game Live show, presented by Sharky's Place Sports Bar and Grill. Perfect players will compete on August 21st at the fabulous Hilton Raleigh North Hills. Watch on YouTube as we crown a Numbers Game champ. Special thanks to On-Site AV, a full-service event production company, for lighting up Numbers Game Live.
A torn ACL, stress fracture, aching back, a hip that's had it, life on hold, and all you want is to get it back. Enter Wake Orthopedics. Our fellowship-trained orthopedists do it all. General, sports, pediatric, joint replacement, fractures, spine, prevention, advanced diagnostics, progressive treatments, minimally invasive procedures, surgeries, and more. Visit wakemed.org/wakeortho and get back your life.
Genie log, day 15,824. Powerball jackpot's over $550 million now. I'll be stuck in this little lamp forever with nothing but all this stupid gold and rare gems. A gold-plated motorcycle? Sure does a lot of good when you live in a 10x10 magic lamp. Come find me. I'm at latitude 36.06.
Grant your own wishes. The Powerball jackpot is over $550 million. Must be 18 to play. Approximate jackpot odds are 1 in 293 million. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
Sports can be unpredictable. Your elevator shouldn't be. That's why you need Metro Elevator, Raleigh's hometown team for expert commercial elevator service. Locally owned and operated, we specialize in keeping your building moving with top-tier repair, maintenance, modernization, and installation. Our highly trained technicians deliver fast, responsive service to ensure your elevators run smoothly. No surprises, just results. Trust Raleigh's own Metro Elevator to keep you moving. Learn more at metro-elevator.com/Raleigh.
Coming up here in about 5-6 minutes, we're actually going to discuss UNC, Duke, NC State, and what's an ideal start for each of those college football seasons for each of those three schools. By start, I mean the first third of the season, the first 4 games. What's an ideal start? I mean, obviously, ideal is, you go 4-0. But ideal and realistic start. Not going to live in a fantasy world here, Max. It's the Drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan, though we can fantasize. Nothing wrong with that, right? Nothing wrong with a little fantasy booking. But again, we'll do that here in about 5-6 minutes. But until then, Max, it's time for a little ladder challenge.
Oh, my God! And for the 20-foot ladder with a spear on Jeff Hardy. For the love of God, Jeff Hardy may be broken. Smack dab in half.
All right, Max, so for the ladder challenge, because Tim Donnelly's not in today, Dennis Cox sitting in for Tim today, Tim and I, normally what we do is we have an ongoing rolling bet that we like to place. So we start each month with $10, and we have to place a bet on odds on a sporting event or a prop bet, whatever it might be, where the odds of winning are somewhere between -500 and -1,000. So the payouts aren't very big, but the odds of winning are very high and very likely. So we start at $10, and if you win the bet, you take the stake that you place, that $10 plus your winnings, and you roll that into the next day. So you're trying to accumulate, much like cumulative interest, and we see who has the most money at the end of the month. And if you lose your bet, you go right back down to $10. All right, so that's how Tim and I normally have been doing it, but because Tim is not here, Max and I are doing something a little bit different. So, Max, you and I are each giving 3 bets. 3 bets for today are really for the weekend. And, Max, I'll go ahead and let you start off. What's your first bet here for the weekend?
All right.
By the way, did you win any of your bets yesterday?
So I did win. I did win one. So actually, you won yesterday. My only winner was the American Ben Shelton to win against Jiri Lehecka at ATP Cincinnati. That was -150. So I turned $10 into $16.67. I lost my other 2 plays. You went 1 for 3 as well, but your winning pick, Riley Green, to hit a home run for the Tigers. That was plus 270. So you turned your $30 into $37. So you got the win yesterday.
That I did. But, Max, I'll go and let you start things off today.
All right, so we're going to try to get right here this weekend. I'm actually going to go basically the same idea as yesterday. Ben Shelton in action again, the American. This time as an underdog against Sasha Zverev, who is renowned top 5 tennis player in the world. But Shelton, American lefty, got the big serve. I will take him plus 125 to win that match. So winning bet of $10 would return $22.50.
Okay. All right, my first one is going to be, give me the Houston Texans tomorrow against the Carolina Panthers to win by a range of 7 to 12 points. It's a plus 500. So $10 will turn into $60 on that bet, Max. So Houston Texans to win by 7 to 12 points in that range. That's my first pick.
What was the odds on that?
Plus 500.
Plus 500.
Plus 500. I'm going for it, Max.
You just assuming their starters will be in a little longer? Or?
I mean, have you seen the backup defense for the Carolina Panthers?
Yeah, I mean, I suppose that is true.
Do they exist?
I suppose that is true. All right. I'll go to the pitch then. There is it's the first weekend of the English Premier League.
Yes.
But I'm actually staying in America for this one. I'm just going to go with Charlotte FC to win against Real Salt Lake this weekend. They're at home. I believe they have won 5 straight MLS matches, so we will go to try to make it 6. That is just minus 110, pretty standard odds there. So a $10 winning bet would return $19.10.
All right, give me Man City on the money line against Wolves. Game's tomorrow. Talking about Premier League. I don't know any of these teams. I just know that Holland guy for Man City scores a lot of goals. Minus 225 on the money line, Man City to win. So that $10 will turn into $14.44.
You're singing Blue Moon. That's their song. I'm a Man City supporter myself.
Oh, you are? I don't care.
There wasn't enough juice there for me.
All right.
This third pick, I'm kind of wrestling with this one because I want to take Scotty Scheffler to win the BMW Championship.
Seems like a safe pick.
My issue with this is he is currently 6 shots back of the leader, Robert McIntyre, but the odds are only plus 110. So the books have adjusted for Scotty Scheffler. So I'm actually going to pivot, and I am going to go with over 2.5 rounds for the main event in UFC this weekend, Duplessis versus Chimaev. Basically, every time, I don't know very much about UFC, but basically every time I get like a hyped up main event, I watch it expecting someone to get knocked out and it to be action-packed like in the first couple rounds. And then they just kind of wrestle around for 20, 25 minutes and it goes to decision. So I'm going to go over 2.5 rounds. That is minus 110.
All right. So Chimaev versus Duplessis. All right. Chimaev heavily favored in that one, by the way. My final bet, Aaron Judge to hit a home run tonight, plus 235. So that $10 will turn into $33.50. So there you go. Those are my picks on the ladder challenge. Pretty simple. Pretty simple. It's the Drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan. Dennis Cox sitting in for Tim Donnelly this afternoon. Max, we're a week away from college football actually kicking off. A week away. We're also less than 2 weeks away now from college football actually kicking off here in the Triangle. What's an ideal start for North Carolina? What's an ideal start for Duke? What's an ideal start for NC State this upcoming season? Now, I say ideal, but also keeping things realistic. Because obviously ideal 4-0. But that's not going to happen because NC State and Duke have to play each other week 4. So it's not a realistic thing. Ideally, obviously, but again, let's keep things realistic for teams. We'll start Carolina. Since Duke and State play each other in week 4, let's go ahead and start with Carolina, Max. I think ideal start, and I think a realistic start is 3-1, simply based on their schedule. TCU last year, a team that won 9 games, they returned a bunch of the starters, including their starting quarterback, and his last name's Hoover, who had nearly 4,000 yards passing last season, 3,949 yards last year, had 25 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. He's coming back. Now, Savion Williams, Tesh, a couple of their big-time wide receivers are gone. These guys were drafted in the NFL. Now, one of his second leading receiver in yards, his name escapes me right now, Williams, is coming back this upcoming season. So he definitely did lose a lot in terms of his receiving core, but the fact that the quarterback is coming back is, in my eyes, is very important because continuity is something that really lacks in college sports, really as a whole, is continuity, especially now with the transfer portal. But you have a quarterback coming back that threw for nearly 4,000 passing yards last season. And also you look at some of the losses that TCU suffered last year. They were high-scoring games. I'm talking like a 37-34, a 35-34 games that they lost by putting up points. And they went 9-4 last year in the Big 12 as a Big 12 team. I think with so much uncertainty for UNC, it's hard to really know what their team is going to do and react on actual game day.
Yeah,
It's just so much unknown.
They've got, 70 new players with combined transfers and freshmen this year?
70 new guys. I think 30 or 40 of them have been new just since the end of spring practice. It's hard to incorporate all these new guys into a team right away. And I brought up, last week we did cons and cons, confidence and concerns for ACC football teams in the Triangle. And my concern about UNC football is, who are the leaders on the team? Because it's one thing if you're Clemson and pretty much all your guys have come through the Clemson program. You have guys that are already established in Cade Klubnik at quarterback or TJ Parker on the defensive line. These guys that are established leaders on the team that have already been ingrained on the culture of that team, when things hit the fan, you know you can rely on those veteran guys to help calm things down or lead the way or lead the locker room. When you have a whole bunch of new guys together, who establishes that? And you never know if things go bad. You know, if Carolina finds themselves down 21-7 at halftime and guys are frustrated, who takes control in the locker room? Do guys feel like they should be it, but really they maybe aren't best fit for it? Again, that's a dynamic that only is discovered in due time. So for me, I think TCU comes in and gets a win to start the season at Carolina. In my eyes. Now, it might be a good game, might be a close game. Obviously, that'll be determined. But I think there's just too much continuity, especially offensively, back for TCU, and there's just too many new pieces for Carolina week one to figure it out. But then they go on the road to a team like Charlotte, which is not – they're ranked, in the bottom 12 of the FBS by some pundits. They're not very highly viewed upon, Charlotte, this upcoming season. And then you play FCS school in Richmond. And then you play Central Florida, who went 4-8 last year. And actually one of their games was an upset win against TCU. But they played above their level in that game. It was a 35-34 game. But they played above their level. Central Florida, a little bit more of a turnover of their roster. I think UNC, in theory, hopefully if after the season opening loss in my eyes against TCU, should be able to right the ship against Charlotte and Richmond, work the kinks out, and then find their flow. I think 3-1 is both ideal and realistic for UNC football the first 4 games of the season.
I think, honestly, UCF is sort of in a similar position to UNC because they got all that roster turnover. But we can't overlook it's Scott Frost's first year back as the head coach.
That's right, he's
at
back.
UCF. And I don't know if I would go so far as to say that is a game UNC should win. It is definitely a game that they can win, and I would not be surprised if they won. But I also would not be surprised if they dropped that one on the road. Now, I don't know how jumping it will be in the bounce house, which is UCF's home field. But when it is packed out and the fans are engaged, that is a really tough place to play. And it's not hard to see a scenario where those students and those fans do kind of get up and get excited, like, oh, Bill Belichick and UNC are coming to town. Like, we need to show out for this game. So I think asking to win all 4 of those definitely a reach, especially with TCU. And they could drop UCF, but I definitely, realistically could see 3-1 for them in the first 4 weeks.
That's why, again, I think ideal and realistic, I think, is 3-1 to start the season. A loss at home to start the year against TCU, but then 3 straight wins. Again, we're looking at the first 4 games of the year. Let's go to Duke. Let's go to Duke next. They start the year against Elon. That should be a win. There's an FCS school at home. That's on Thursday night, the same night that NC State plays East Carolina. Then they're at home on Saturday, September 6th against Illinois. I think this one might be a little bit more of a rough go. I think this is where you're going to see, in my eyes, Darian Mensah and the offense will probably look good against an FCS opponent in Elon. Don't be shocked if it's a 3-0 game after the first quarter, but then the offense kind of gets their groove a little bit. Then the offense puts up some stats against Elon, them being Duke. But then you go into a tougher game against Brett Bielema and Illinois. At home, I think that's one that they drop. In my eyes, I think that's one that they drop. Then they got to go on the road to Tulane. I think in my eyes, they should go on the road and beat an FBS school, even a good one like Tulane. You took Tulane's quarterback. I know people are going to say, well, they got BYU's quarterback. I understand that. But they should, in my eyes, should go on the road, and especially with their defense. Especially with their defense, they should go on the road and beat Tulane, in my eyes. Which then gets into, Max, the Week 4 game against NC State. We'll discuss that here in just a moment. So I think Duke obviously Duke beat NC State last year. I think it'll be a pretty good game. You're at home against NC State. I think ideal and realistic can be 3-1 for Duke. That is a honestly realistic 3-1 for Duke, but I would not be surprised if it is 2-2. And I'm very bullish on Duke this upcoming season.
Yeah, I mean,
I very much am.
I think they're a really good team with a really good defense with Manny Diaz at the helm. They definitely have the toughest path out of the three to get to 4-0. Just with that Illinois game and the Tulane game on the road is not going to be easy. You know,
and NC State shouldn't be a pushover either.
No, definitely not. But those three, I mean, one of them is Group of 5 in Tulane, but that is they are probably the favorites to win in the American. They're at least among the probably 2 or 3 teams that are favorites to win that conference. And they just got BYU's former quarterback as transfer in Jake Retzlaff, so that's not going to be easy either. I could see anywhere from 2-2 to 4-0 for them. I mean, the only one that you want to guarantee as a win is Elon. And then after that, could go either way in the next 3, honestly.
I think Illinois is one that they drop. I think so.
More than likely, yeah.
Again, the Week 4 game against NC State is going to be a big one because let's look at NC State's schedule. You have East Carolina coming into town to Carter Finley. We've talked about that game quite a bit. We'll definitely dive more into that next week. By the way, Thursday next week, we will be at Carter Finley Stadium. We will be at Carter Finley Stadium doing the show.
2 weeks.
I'm sorry, 2 weeks. 2 weeks. My apologies. And next week is the Numbers game live. In 2 weeks, we'll be at Carter Finley. But East Carolina coming in. You simply have to win that game if you're NC State. Plain and simple. And you can win that game, and you should win that game. You should not allow an FBS school from in your state to come into your building and beat you. If you are Duke, your state, your Carolina, none of the FBS schools, the group of 6 schools that are, App, ECU, Charlotte, should not come into your building and beat you. Plain and simple. So you have to win that game. And I think NC State obviously can win that game. I think especially going into year number 2 with CJ Bailey and the offensive guys all coming back, that's going to be a big game for them. But that definitely is 100% a winnable game. Then they got to go on the road, take on Virginia. You should beat Virginia. You're a better program right now than Virginia. It's plain and simple. Wake Forest, same thing. You should beat Wake Forest. Now, granted, it's a Thursday night game. Thursday nights against Wake Forest haven't been too kind to NC State and Dave Doran. There's history there.
They have not.
There's history there. But in my mind, they should beat the Demon Deacons. Should. And then it kind of, again, ties into that last game against Duke, that Week 4 game. Again, we're looking at starts of the season, first 4 games of the year. It's not out of the realm of possibility, and I'm not trying to blow smoke here, that NC State could be 4-0 to start this season. It's not out of the realm of possibility. Now, if our prediction of Duke going 3-1 to start, then that puts NC State at 3-1. We might actually legit be looking at State, Duke, and Carolina all 3-1 to start this upcoming season, which is great. I want these teams to all win. I want to look at the end of the season. We're seeing 9-win teams here in the Triangle, or it's 9-win NC State and 9-win Carolina and 9-win Duke all playing each other at the end of the season. That's what I want to see. I want to see these teams pushing to go to the ACC championship game. That's what I want. It's more fun that way. But it is not out of the realm of possibility for NC State, looking at their first 4 games, should beat ECU at home, should beat Virginia, should beat Wake Forest, and we'll see what happens against Duke. Duke's not going to be an easy out for anyone this season.
No, they certainly are not, especially at home. And as I mentioned, Duke has probably the most difficult path to 4-0. NC State probably has the easiest path. That not to say that they will go 4-0 because you're playing 3 ACC teams and only 2 of them are actual ACC games. Thanks for that, ACC.
Yeah.
but it is tough. Usually in the history of the series, at least since 2000, the home team typically wins in the series between Wake and State. Couple of outliers along the way, but the home team has been typically able to bring that one home. It's varied sometimes, but so it's not going to be easy even with a rebuilding Wake with a new coach. And then, maybe a toss-up against Duke at best. Again, before we see them actually take the field, it's kind of hard to say what level they're going to be playing at this year. Obviously, we're bullish on Duke. And we've mentioned many times, like NC State has kind of been a little more subdued on the hype this year, maybe kind of trying to, build behind the scenes and kind of surprise people versus having the high expectations and having it crash down. So
sure,
the path is there. They just have to come out and execute, and, a couple key pieces need to fit in. New coordinators, second-year jump for C.J. Bailey.
Yeah.
Depends on a lot of progress being made, but
there is.
NC State at 4-0 and the other two at 3-1. I think those are like very realistic scenarios and about the top that they can achieve in those first 4 weeks.
I think so. I think realistically, ideally realistically, I think for North Carolina 3-1 to start, because that first game against TCU is not going to be an easy one at all. And then the next 3 games after that are against teams that are not that good in my eyes. And then in Central Florida, we'll see what, with Scott Frost being back and, transfer portal and all that kind of stuff. We shall see. But they got Charlotte and Richmond in there. At minimum, they should be 2-2. At minimum, UNC should be 2-2 through the first 2 games. Then looking at Duke, I think at minimum they should be 2-2. Again, Illinois is not going to be an easy game. I think Illinois is a loss for Duke in my eyes. That's, again, how I view it going in. But then the NC State game, the exact same thing. I think that's a coin flip type game, especially I know the game is in Durham. I know you mentioned that, but it's right down the road. It's 30 minutes. There'll be a sea of red over there at Wallace Wade Stadium. I mean, it's going to be a 50-50 crowd. At most. Let's be honest. Let's call it what it is. And then NC State, I think it is realistic for them to go 4-0 to start this season. It absolutely is realistic. But if you want to make an argument and say, hey, you know what, East Carolina could pull off the upset to start the season, well, yeah, I saw that bowl game last year. I saw it. Now, again, these teams are different because transfers and freshmen and all that kind of stuff coming in. I get it, but that's just how I view it. That's just how I view it. It's the Drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan. Dennis Cox sitting in for Tim Donnelly this afternoon. If you want to leave your thoughts on the show, like as we're talking about these things live, you can do it on our YouTube page. Go on 99.9 The Fan, search our YouTube page. You can actually watch the show live as it takes place. There's a comments, chat section. Leave your thoughts there. Leave your thoughts there. You can actually be part of the conversation and just interact with us. We'll read your quotes possibly online as well. We like to check these out as things go along for sure. And also, when we post videos from the show, you can leave comments there as well. We want you guys, again, to be involved. At least I do. I actually like jumping in the comment section and responding back to people and talking with them and having that conversation because people might have a different perspective than us, and that's 100% okay.
The conversation we had earlier about the Panthers running back room being ranked, already 12 comments on that one. People mostly in agreement that ESPN has kind of overlooked the Panthers running back room, but that one, Panther fans are real hot on.
As they should be. They should be a little bit hot on that one because that's probably the best aspect of the team last year was their actual running game. Now, their offensive line was ranked overall 19th. We didn't really dive into the other positions. Overall, their offensive line was ranked 19th. They were 10th in 10th in run block win rate, the offensive line was for the Panthers last year, but they were 31st in the NFL in pass block win rate. So, again, good running team, and not the best when it comes to the passing game, at least in terms of blocking standpoint, that is. We'll see how much that improves this season. It's the Drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan. Max, it's Friday. We're approaching 5 o'clock. It's time to get bold. Real, bold predictions. Next.
Hey, it's Tim Donnelly here for Mainer Service Company. I tell you often that I had the opportunity to go see their owner, Brett, and walk around the facility at Maynard Service Company, and I learned so much, and I love the community feel of their business, locally owned. But also, I want to emphasize, you don't have to go to their warehouse. You've seen their trucks out and about. They cover the entire triangle. They'll come to your house. They have to. That's where your HVAC unit is. That's where your plumbing is. That's where your electrical is, right? And all of that is what they want to get their hands on. They work tirelessly to make sure that their technicians are up to date on all of the possible dealings in your house, and the only place they get to show that is when something goes wrong in your house. They want to come fix it. So call them and let them know. 919-361-0993. You can also visit them online at MaynorServices.com. Once again, that's MAYNOR Services.com.
Hey, Carolina Panthers fans, it's Dennis Cox from 99.9 The Fan. We're in the preseason, so me and my co-host, WRAL TV's Chris Lee, are back in the trenches with our podcast, Panthers Playbook. In every episode, we'll keep you up to date on Panthers news as training camp rolls forward. Insight on the rookies, the fresh free agents and surprises, plus all the insider info on the upcoming season. Follow and subscribe to Panthers Playbook wherever you discover your favorite podcasts or watch on YouTube.
Looking for a big new game to play? Well, there's no game bigger than the new dino-sized Jurassic Park scratch-off from the North Carolina Education Lottery, which gives you a chance to win up to $200,000 instantly. And if that weren't enough, you can enter for a chance to win an exciting trip to beautiful Hawaii, where you could win up to $1 million. Welcome to Jurassic Park. Adventure awaits. Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds of winning are 1 in 4.28. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
It's bow time. Something new just dropped at Bojangles. Take the bold taste of a crispy golden chicken supreme that's been seasoned to perfection, then add dill pickles, Carolina Gold barbecue sauce, and a toasted bun that's great on the go. What do you get? You get a Bo's Bird Dog. In fact, you can grab 2 of them for $5. So, when you're on the go, headed to practice, or need a snack, grab a Bo's Bird Dog. Hurry in before they're gone, available for a limited time. It's bow time.
There's no time like bow time, but sometimes it's go time. No time to stop, but the perfect time for a Bojangles Bird Dog. A seasoned to perfection Bojangles Chicken Supremes, dill pickles, and Carolina Gold barbecue sauce, all tucked inside a toasted bun. Great on the go. Try 2 bird dogs for just $5 or 2 bird dog combo for just $8.25. Available for limited time only. When you're hungry for flavor and value, it's bow time.
Coming up at 5:30 today, we will have the numbers game. A $25 Sharkies gift card is on the line. So that's coming up at 5:30 today. Last chance to win that, by the way. Last chance to win that. And speaking of the numbers game, it's back, folks. The second annual numbers game live show presented by Sharky's Place Sports Bar and Grill takes place on Thursday next week, August 21st. Perfect players will battle at the clock at the Hilton Raleigh North Hills, a fabulous hotel for all your needs. Watch as we crown our champion live on YouTube. Special thanks to Onsite AV, a full-service event production company, for supplying the sights and sounds of Numbers Game Live. That is on August 21st. That is on Thursday next week. But until then, Max, it's that time of the week where we make some real bold predictions. So the way real bold predictions works, I should be able to say it correctly. The way that real bold predictions works is this. I'm going to make a statement, a bold statement, and Max is going to be the judge. If he says, or if he feels that the prediction that I make isn't bold enough, he's going to hit the buzzer. But if it is bold enough, he's going to hit the bold enough bell. Pretty simple. That's how it works. We've seen so many sports shows like bold prediction. Joe Burrow is going to throw for 25 touchdowns this season. Oh, you mean again? It's not bold. Now, if you were to tell me he's going to throw for 40, all right, that's a little bit more bold. I'm not going to make that bold statement right now. But how about this? Bold statement. Real bold prediction. Bryce Young throws for 3,600 yards next season. Or this upcoming. Okay, not enough.
I need to recontextualize what that is, but I'm basically never giving you the first one in this.
That is okay. That's good to know, actually. Okay, let's say Bryce Young this upcoming season, 3,700 yards this upcoming season.
Hold on, research department is checking. 3,700?
3,700. Okay, all right, and here's the reason why I bring this up. The last 10 games that he started last year, so when he came back in for the Broncos game, you look at those 10 starts, he threw for 2,104 yards. So that's 210 yards per game, essentially, and some change. That is, over a 17-game season, 3,576 yards. 3,577 yards if you round up. So a shade under 36. Now, in my eyes, that should be like... That should be the bar, but are we expecting him to be that level of quarterback? I mean, that's something to keep in mind is if we're truly saying a bold prediction for Bryce Young that he's going to exceed that pace of the last 10 games of the season last year by that much, I mean, 3,700 yards, I mean, that's what we're looking at. Now, granted, the touchdowns, we're looking at 25 touchdowns. You're looking at 8 rushing touchdowns, about 10 interceptions, and that's what you're looking at. Now, granted, a lot of those numbers were inflated. So over the last 10 games last season that he started, he threw for 15 touchdowns and accounted for a total of 20 touchdowns. But keep in mind, 1/4 of those touchdowns came in Week 18 against the Atlanta Falcons because he had 5 in that game. 3 passing, 2 rushing. So literally a quarter of his touchdown totals came in one game. During that stretch. So we'll see what he does this upcoming season. All right, next here on the Real Bold Predictions. Chuba Hubbard rushes for 1,350 yards this season. Yes! That's what I'm talking about.
Actually, we'll give you that one straight up because more yards than last year with a statistically more accomplished running mate in the backfield. I'll give you that.
I think that this upcoming season, we're going to see a few more explosive plays from Chuba Hubbard this year. And the reason why I say that is this offseason, he lost some weight. He actually leaned down. And I think we're going to see a little bit of more quickness. For example, we did see some long runs last year, like the 38-yard touchdown run he had against the Chicago Bears last year, where he broke through the line of scrimmage and actually outraced the defensive backs and scored a touchdown. I think we might see a few more of those this season, for the simple fact that teams aren't going to be able to load the box against the Carolina Panthers this upcoming season. Because last year, you could just go man-to-man coverage, and guys really weren't getting open. I think the addition of Teterola McMillan is going to influence how defenses play. And I think it's going to open up some more running opportunities for a running back that is under an offensive play caller and head coach and Dave Canales that says, we want to be a physical, run-the-football team first. And I want to see Dave Canales be able to lean on that even more. Because there were some times last year where he felt like, or at least it felt like to me, that the play calling, at least early on, was a little bit conservative. And I think allowing Bryce Young to be a threat on passing down, or at least on early downs in the passing game, is going to loosen up the defense, and I think that's where Chuba Hubbard is going to be able to take over. And also as well, if you have the lead late in games a little bit more often, you're going to be turning around and handing the ball off into Chuba Hubbard. So I think there might be a little bit more volume as well. But I think 1,350 yards for Chuba Hubbard will be awesome, especially since they invested in him with a big contract during the season last year. All right, next up here, Max, on Real Bold Predictions. We'll do a little hockey one here for you. Little hockey, little Carolina Hurricanes one. Carolina Hurricanes. 3 30-goal scorers this season. 3 30-plus goals. I got a buzzer for that? You know they only have one coming back on the roster, right? Seth Jarvis?
Yeah,
Okay.
but
All right.
look.
No.
Well, actually,
I got to hit bold enough. 4 30-goal scorers this upcoming. Yeah, there it is. Seth Jarvis, in my mind, is a lock. Sebastian Aho, in my eyes, 30 goals is a lock. Now, who should be a lock to be a 30-goal scorer is Andrei Svechnikov. Should be. We've seen him score 30 before. And I think that's a player with all of his skill set and his potential that he has shown needs to be a 30-plus goal guy on a consistent basis for this team. But we haven't seen that really in a few years from him. But I was kind of doing a little, just to keep my mind fresh on hockey, I was kind of doing a little bit of look back about what this team could potentially be this upcoming season. Because, looking, I was like, all right, what moves can still be made around the NHL? Because training camp starts in a month. Like, literally, I think it's literally a month from today is when training camp actually begins. September 22nd is the first preseason game. It's a Monday night. Like, it's right around the corner, folks. Like, we're literally less than a month away from Carolina Hurricanes skating in practices. That's how close we are. So I was thinking about, okay, well, are there moves that could still be made? Like, there's still a couple of, free agents that are floating around out there. Like, Jack Roslovic hasn't signed yet with a team, but there's also some teams that are over the salary cap right now that might have to make some moves accordingly and so on. So I was thinking, what could potentially happen this upcoming season? I was like, Jarvis should be a 30-goal scorer. Aho should be a 30-goal scorer. Svechnikov should be a 30-goal scorer. And that's the reason why we haven't seen Nikolai Ehlers score 30 goals in the NHL yet. Keyword, yet. But his numbers in terms of like advanced numbers and statistics, and I think with the increased ice time that he's going to have in Carolina, could lead to a potential 30-goal score. If you actually look at Nikolai Ehlers' goals per 60 minutes last season when he played in Winnipeg. So goals scored per 60 minutes of ice time. If you take that number and you increase his ice time by 2 minutes, he was about 15 and a half minutes. If you just make that 17 and a half, which is on par with, or even a little bit less than what Jarvis and Aho and some of these other do. You looked at about a 30-goal year last year. Again, health being an important factor into it, but that's the pace that he scored at last year. So it's not out of the realm of possibility. Again, being healthy is an important thing, but so yes, I think 4 is real bold. 4 is truly bold. 3, I think, is truly realistic, but 4 is bold. Good call on that one, Max. All right, Max, final one here for you. Duke football finishes with the best record in the Triangle this upcoming season. That's not bold enough? Dang it.
I think they're the best team out of the 3.
You and I both agree on that. Duke football finishes with the best record in the Triangle, and then including the bowl game, they win 10 games. Yeah, there it is. I actually, looking at Duke's schedule this upcoming season, I think they play Clemson, which in my mind is probably going to be a loss. Because even you said that Clemson you probably feel is going to win the national championship this year. The Illinois game feels like it could be a loss this upcoming season. But they have UConn, Virginia, Wake, Cal, Syracuse. Now, Syracuse isn't going to be a pushover. Georgia Tech's not going to be a pushover. State, Carolina, rivalry games, again, not going to be pushovers. But when you have a team that has a really, really good defense, you're going to be in these games for more often than not. So I think Duke will be the best team. I'll say it right now. Will be the best team in the Triangle this season. When we look at win-loss at the end of the season, Duke will have the best record. But yeah, if they get to 10 wins under Manny Diaz this season, that'd be pretty darn impressive. All right, that's real bold predictions here on 99.9 The Fan. Hey, folks, Dennis Cox here for my friends over at Raleigh Weight Loss Center. Folks out there, I'm going to tell this to you, especially for coming off the summer and you just want to get yourself healthier, you want to lose weight. If you struggled with weight, you got to look into Raleigh Weight Loss Center. I know I've struggled with weight. I know plenty of people that have bounced from one fad diet to another, and their weight fluctuates up and down. I never tried any of the fad diet stuff because let's be honest, I saw the results of other people trying to do that, and it wasn't good. But through Raleigh Weight Loss Center, I could proudly say, actually stepping on the scale this morning, 25 pounds down. 25 pounds down. Folks, I started this program less than 3 weeks ago. That's real numbers. Real numbers. And it's just the start. And the program at Raleigh Weight Loss Center not only wants to help you lose the weight, but also maintain that as well. And that really is just the start. The program is there to reset your metabolism naturally. You're not doing shots, no steroids. We're not doing HGH. We're not juicing over here. It's just your body losing weight at a half pound to a pound per day and doing it in a way where you can maintain that goal weight. It can be frustrating for people. I felt that frustration before when you feel like you're doing all the right things, you're exercising, you're eating right, and the needle doesn't move. You get zero results. I've been there before, but this is literally the lightest I have been in years. My clothes are fitting better. I have more energy. I'm sleeping a whole lot better. My girlfriend isn't complaining about my snoring. My resting heart rate has gone down several beats per minute over the last few weeks just because of the weight that I've lost. You can be in that situation as well. Give Raleigh Weight Loss Center a call at 919-897-7506. Again, 919-897-7506. Or visit them online, RaleighWeightLossCenter.com. Or again, give them a call, 919-897-7506. Let them know that Dennis sent you. Results for individuals may vary. It's the Drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan. Dennis Cox sitting in for Tim Donnelly this afternoon. The starting five coming up, including one guy local to the Triangle making his Major League Baseball debut this weekend. Next.
The Adam Gold Show.
We all knew things were going to change when Will Wade got here. We saw the recruiting. We saw the work in the transfer portal. We see the energy of Will Wade. And then I looked at the non-conference schedule and I went, this is something we have never seen over the last 25 years at State for basketball. A non-conference schedule where there are as many losable games as there are easy wins. Good on you, Will.
The Adam Gold Show, weekdays starting at noon on 99.9 The Fan.
Hot summer days mean time on the water. Let Sound Station and Security make your time even better with our custom boat options. At Sound Station and Security, our Raleigh marine experts can help you for everything with your boat, from the perfect audio system to lights to video. We do it all custom and we do it all from scratch. You're unique. Your boat should be too. Make sure everyone knows where the best party is this summer on the lake with Sound Station and Security. With 2 locations, downtown Smithfield and on Glenwood Avenue in Raleigh. Online at myhotsound.com.
Want to score points with your boss? Recruit RoofWorks to your building maintenance team to handle your commercial roofing needs. Hi, this is Holly with RoofWorks. We've helped hundreds of Triangle businesses with their commercial roof maintenance, repairs, and if necessary, total replacements. Our pros come to your site, assess your roofing needs, and then give you a range of options to fit your budget. And we'd love to work with you. For roof maintenance and repair, contact us today at roofworks.com. That's roof, WERKS.com.
Genie log, day 15,824. Powerball jackpot's over $550 million now. I'll be stuck in this little lamp forever with nothing but all this stupid gold and rare gems. A gold-plated motorcycle? Sure does a lot of good when you live in a 10x10 magic lamp. Come find me. I'm at latitude 36.06.
Grant your own wishes. The Powerball jackpot is over $550 million. Must be 18 to play. Approximate jackpot odds are 1 in 293 million. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
I'm attorney Brian Ritchie. Getting hurt in a car wreck comes with all kinds of stress and frustration. But when you call me, I'll be on top of all of it. So all you need to worry about is getting better. If you've been injured in a car wreck, I'm on top of it. Contact us at ritchielaw.com.
Broadcasting live from the Lenovo Studios. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm WRAL meteorologist Mike Mays. We're going into the weekend with quieter weather. Just a 20% chance for an evening shower, the low 74. 30% chance for a shower or a storm tomorrow afternoon with a high at 89. 92, the high Sunday.
Weather update brought to you by Newcomb & Company, where your comfort is their business. Visit newcombandcompany.com. 5 o'clock check of your money at the closing bell. Dow Jones up 34 points to 44,946.
It's 5 o'clock. Time to serve up the biggest sports stories of the day. Here comes your starting 5.
It's 5 o'clock, people, or a little bit after 5 o'clock, 5:02. Congratulations. You've made it to the weekend. Max, we have not made it to the weekend yet. We still have one more hour left in the show. By the way, coming up here in about 23 minutes, we're going to be putting out the call for the numbers game. $25 Sharky's gift card on the line today, so make sure you stick around. Last chance to win the gift card to Sharky's. Last chance for that. But Max, we got to get into the starting 5. Let's get started with number 5.
Count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
So in less than 2 weeks now, NC State football is going to be hosting East Carolina at Carter Finley Stadium. Huge in-state matchup. I'm very much looking forward to this game. I love rivalries. That's one of the things that makes college sports so great. And it's not just the players on the field or the coaches on the sidelines. It's the fans as well. The fans bring the energy. They bring they feed into that rivalry as well. They're saying, hey, my team's better than yours. Especially in this area. I mean, obviously we are blessed. I mean, I know Tim Donnelly has said it, that we are in the mecca of college sports, and I'm 100% there with them. We truly are blessed and spoiled with what we get in college sports. And in a couple weeks, we're going to have East Carolina from 75 minutes down the road coming into Raleigh to take on East Carolina, or to take on NC State. That's going to be a fun night. And NC State decided to, at 9:19 this morning, at 9:19, they revealed their uniforms for that season opener, Max. And I know the uniform reveal it's all part of the continuing to generate buzz about your program, continuing to generate eyeballs on your team. And NC State's kind of changing things up slightly a little bit for this one. It's still a red jersey, red pants. It's going to be a white helmet, but there's an old, kind of like an old cursive type script that's written on the uniform as well as on the helmet. The script says just NC State, but the script on the helmet is something really haven't seen traditionally before from NC State. I think it's a cool little touch. Also, there's a small acorn right above the NC State script on the jersey, and even the underlying pattern on the jersey on the red looks like the cap or the top of an acorn as well. Because being the city of Oaks, I think it's a really cool touch. I actually like the striping down the side of the pants. I think it looks really cool. I think it's a pretty neat looking uniform. It's just a little bit different in my eyes. It's still white helmet, red jersey, red pants, but it's a little bit different. I know, Max, you're not quite as big on it, but you're an NC State grad. I'm not.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not hating on it or anything.
You sound like you were.
I don't think it's just sort of, it's just kind of more of the same for me. Like,
Okay.
it's not, I think maybe it's a little better than a typical jersey. I'm not saying it's worse or anything, but it's not something like crazy or anything. I just wish they would go to the diamond NC State helmet logo all the time.
No, the old school?
Yeah. I think that throwback, every state throwback thing looks way better than all the modern stuff in football and basketball, especially. To me, anyway.
Throwbacks are cool. People love the throwback look. I'm curious to see what UNC and Duke, might display for some games this upcoming season, because let's be honest, that's part of your marketing, for lack of a better term, when it comes to athletics, is having the cool looks. I mean, gosh, University of Oregon, like our boss, our program director, Paul Eyander, is a Oregon grad, and it seems like they have a different uniform combination every single game. They've gone from like white helmets, black helmets, green helmets, yellow helmets, the different kind of shiny helmets. Then they've got gray jerseys, green jerseys, yellow jerseys, white jerseys, black jerseys. Same thing with the pants and the cleats, and they just, you can mix and match those together however you want. And it drew people's attention when Oregon being a Nike school. It drew eyeballs. And like, well, wait a second. What's Oregon wearing this week? And guess what? That program has grown. Now under Dan Lanning, they're one of the top programs in the entire country. They were the 1 seed in the college football playoff this past year. Anyway, the uniform, NC State. I think it's a pretty cool look. I think it's kind
Main takeaway being football is so close. So close.
What do you mean?
Where it's like next week.
Oh, okay. I say, just the fact that it is so close. Yes. By the way, a week from tomorrow, we actually do have college football games that are kicking off. Like, it's week 0. We will see games. Very excited by this. That's number 5. Let's get to number 4.
1, 2, 3, 4, all together.
It's finished at Sunderland. Manchester United have done all they can. That Rooney goal was enough for the 3 points. Manchester City are still alive here. Balotelli, Aguero!
Yes, for all you football fans, soccer fans out there, congratulations. The Premier League is back. English Premier League soccer, it's back this weekend. Max, you have a team. I don't.
Yeah. I'm a Manchester City supporter, as other football fans may have noticed from the legendary commentary clip there. Sergio Aguero clinching Man City's first Premier League title. That was back in 2011.
Okay.
Action just got underway this afternoon. First game of the season actually just ended. Liverpool, the defending champions, defeated Bournemouth at home to get things started by a score of 4-2.
Nice.
Full slate of games this weekend. Man City is taking on Wolves. That was actually your pick for the ladder challenge.
Yeah,
Man City to defeat them. But there's a decent amount of parity this year in the Premier League. For the last 4 seasons before this most previous one, Man City had pretty much run away with, the last 3 or 4 seasons, they had basically run away with the league title, but has lost some key pieces. Arsenal still trying to get their first title in many years, up there at the top with Liverpool, Man City, and Chelsea trying to return to dominance as well. So should be a fun season. It always is, and it's a good line of demarcation that American football is almost back as well.
Yeah, that's true. They all start at the same time. I will say this. It is sometimes kind of nice on a Saturday morning if I'm kind of just doing some stuff around the house. If there's a Premier League match that's on TV in the morning, I'll flip it on. I'm doing some stuff around the house, cleaning or whatever it is I got to do. I'll flip it on before the actual football games really get started. So anyway, all you soccer fans out there, congratulations. It's your holiday. The English Premier League is back. All right, that's number 4. Let's get to number 3. Nolan McLean went to Garner High School right here in the Triangle. Was a 3rd-round pick of the New York Mets just a few seasons ago. Played college baseball at Oklahoma State. Initially was a 3rd-round pick in 2022 by the Baltimore Orioles. Didn't sign his contract. Decided to go back for another season of college baseball. Was drafted by the Mets. 3rd-round pick. Signed his contract with the Mets. He's ranked 37th in baseball in terms of he's the number 3 Mets prospect and also the 37th ranked prospect in all of baseball. He's going to be making his major league debut tomorrow for the New York Mets. Again, local guy from right here in the Triangle, went to Garner High School. He's going to start for the New York Mets this coming weekend at Citi Field when they take on the Seattle Mariners. And Cal Raleigh, which ironically, Cal Raleigh is from North Carolina. Cal Raleigh is the catcher and one of the best players in Major League Baseball, might be American League MVP for the season. He's the catcher for the Dodgers. I think it's kind of fitting that a guy from this area is going to be pitching against a guy named Raleigh. I think it's very fitting. It's very fitting. That's perfect. You couldn't have drawn up any better.
I don't. Unfortunately for Cal, his last month or so has not been the hottest.
Doesn't matter.
He may be slipping back behind Judge in that AL MVP race.
This ain't about Cal Raleigh. This is about Nolan McLean. Don't rain on his parade. Don't rain on Nolan McLean's parade. I think this is really cool. Anytime you can see someone local make it all the way to the top. Even if Nolan McLean, this is the only game that he pitches in the majors. Even if it's the only game that he does. I'm not saying that's going to be the case, but even if it's the only game that he does, he can say, I made it. I pitched in a big league game. I started in a big league game. The future's bright. He's 24 years old. Again, he's the number 3 prospect for the New York Mets in their organization. The number 37th ranked prospect, Max, in the entire MLB. And he's 24 years old. 2 things I hope for. 1, that he has a long career. And he has a successful debut. And part of that long career leads into the second thing, that he stays healthy. Unfortunately, we see often so many times in baseball too many young players, because of the amount of innings that they throw at a young age and just simply how much gas these guys are throwing with nowadays. They're blowing their arms out too early. We're seeing that. We're seeing guys just simply throwing too many innings, and they're throwing just simply too hard on too many pitches that eventually the elbow wears down, the shoulder wears down. That's what we're seeing. We're seeing a lot of guys that don't really have, starting pitchers, with the exception of some of the older guys. Like, we still see Clayton Kershaw pitching. We still see Max Scherzer pitching. Justin Verlander is still out there pitching. Now, obviously, they're not at the top of their game, but they're still in their 30s. Justin Verlander's case is 42 years old, still getting it done. You don't see too many young pitchers nowadays making it really past the age of 30, 31, 32, just because their arms are simply just cooked at that point.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just what it is. It's unfortunate, but I hope that Nolan McLean is able to have a long-lasting career. Simple as that.
What doesn't help with that is Tim was on here. It was either earlier this week or last week. There's this Japanese youth baseball tournament.
Oh, yeah.
Where the kids are throwing like 700 pitches over the course of this multi-day tournament. Like, that is crazy.
It's insane. And there are guys who have who cook their arms in doing that. It's just, I've seen this is part of youth sports. Like, for example, the Little League World Series is going on right now, and Little League and these youth leagues and stuff generally put a cap on number of pitches that you can throw or number of innings that you can throw in a certain week, which I think is a good thing. I think you need to do those things. But I've seen in youth sports, and I've just talked to parents, be like, oh, yeah, he pitches 4 games a week. I was like, as a reliever? No, he starts 4 games a week. He'll pitch 5 or 6 innings for this one team. Then he has his youth league, and he'll pitch 5 or 6 innings there. And then he'll pitch another 5 innings for this other team on my travel. I said, Major League Baseball players don't even throw that many innings in a week. It's insane. It's absolutely insane. So I hope, Nolan McLean, first of all, that you have an awesome debut. And the guy whose name is on this show, Tim Donnelly, is a Mets fan. So I think for Tim's sake, he wants you to be successful as well. But how cool is that? The fact that you can say that you made it. Shout out Nolan McLean. I hope that he has what Steven Strasburg did on his Major League Baseball debut. I actually remember watching Steven Strasburg for the Washington Nationals, his Major League Baseball debut, and just being so enamored with it because there was so much hype of him coming out of San Diego. And I wanted to see is this guy the real deal? And that first game, he pitched 7 innings, had 14 strikeouts. 14 strikeouts over 7 innings. It'd be cool if Nolan McLean had a debut like that tomorrow. I'm rooting for him. And he's pitching against a guy with the last name of Raleigh. Even better. All right, that's number 3. Let's get to number 2.
Just the two of us.
Hail, hail, Michigan. They are the champions of college football 2023.
They are the champions of college football 2023, and guess what? It only cost them $30 million to do so. So the NCAA made a ruling today on Michigan football. So one of their former staff members under their former coach, Jim Harbaugh, by the name of Connor Stallions, he, along with others, but he was the main focal point of this, along with obviously their head coach, Jim Harbaugh. What Connor Stallions and other members and people related to Michigan football, what they were doing was they were doing these advanced scoutings on teams that were going to be future opponents for the Michigan Wolverines. And not just we're breaking down game film. They actually would go attend games, sit in the stands, and actually film the sidelines of the team that Michigan will be playing coming up. And the reason for this was because other teams are giving in signals from the sideline to their defensive, personnel or to their quarterbacks, whatever it might be. They've changed things with headset rules and all that now, but nonetheless, is that they would signal in from the sideline what the plays were going to be or defensive formations and coverages. Now, there was always be one person who was giving in the true signal, and there would always be 2 or 3 other people with what they call giving dummy signals. I have a story about that from my freshman year in college. I'll get into that here in a sec. But they were basically filming the signals at games and then deciphering them and basically cracking the code. So they got caught doing this. So that's an illegal advanced scouting, kind of their version of Spygate, kind of what Bill Belichick did with the Patriots years ago. So they got caught. NCAA investigated, and they issued their penalties today. The penalties were no postseason revenue in 2025 or 2026 for Michigan football. So when teams out of their conference, the Big Ten, or even they themselves make it to the college football playoff, there is a certain amount of money that comes from the college football playoff to those conferences and schools, and the money can get distributed from there on out. Well, guess what? You don't get a cut. Michigan doesn't get a cut. So that is worth roughly approximately $20 million. That also could depend on if there's an expansion of the college football playoff after this year. They also were fined 10% of their football budget, which is north of $70 million, which is insane to think about. But so now you're looking at another fine on top of that $20 million, around $7+ million. Plus there might be some other monies and stuff worked in. The estimated amount of money that's going to be fined or kept away from Michigan football over the next couple of years is $30 million. $30 million. But here's the thing. They get to keep their national championship. You get to keep the title. They're not vacating the title, no asterisks or anything like that. Nope, you get to keep the national championship. And Bruce Feldman, who covers college sports for The Athletic, who also covers the college football for the Big Ten Network and Fox Sports, said why Michigan's wins weren't vacated.
The NCAA can't punish, isn't going to punish the players at Michigan. And I think the vacated wins, it felt like it was like the NCAA, like most NCAA kind of punishment ever, because you can't really, you can do stuff like that, but at the end of the day, the games still happen, right? And you had the NCAA president, Charlie Baker, after he got the job, basically after Michigan wins the title, saying they won it fair and square. We saw them beat Washington. We also saw Michigan win games without Jim Harbaugh when he was suspended that season. So I think on that front, it didn't feel like it was ever going to be on the table.
And honestly, I don't think you can punish the players for something that the coaches did. You just can't, because that's not fair in my eyes to the players who did put in the work, who went out there and still played the games, right? They still went out there and played the games, and they won the games. So I don't think it'd be fair to punish the players that played on that team, or even punish the current players on the team saying, hey, guess what? You can't make it to a postseason. It's like, well, I had nothing to do with that. Why am I being punished?
Vacated titles, this, to me, like, as a punishment, that is just, it's kind of a joke, honestly.
It is.
Like Bruce Feldman said in the soundbite there, like, everybody saw them win the game.
We did.
Like in 2013, everybody saw Louisville win the national championship in basketball.
We did.
Just because they vacated the title and they can't hang the banner, doesn't change the fact that it happened and they won. So It's better to at least impose some kind of penalties that might make a difference. I mean, even like the scale of Michigan football's finances make it so it's kind of hard to actually hit them where it hurts.
Yeah.
But you're at least doing something that has an effect versus, we vacated your title and, all right, carry on your business. But you didn't actually win that national championship,
And $30 million in Michigan, they'll make that up, no problem. With their endowment, they'll get the alumni to, well, here you go. Here's an extra $10,000 or whatever it is. They'll make up that money and no problem at all. So basically, you won a national championship and it cost you $30 million to do it. And guess what? I'd be hard-pressed to find any athletic department that wouldn't trade $30 million if they knew they won a national championship. If I can win a national championship in football, 30 mil, cool. No problem. They'd make that happen in a heartbeat. They truly would. That's number 2. Let's get to number 1 in the starting 5. Tomorrow afternoon, the Carolina Panthers take on the Houston Texans, preseason game number 2. It's down in Houston at NRG Stadium. It's a 1 p.m. Eastern kickoff. By the way, you can listen to that game over on Mix 101.5. Again, Mix 101.5, our sister station. You can listen to the game right over there. Anish Shroff and the crew. That's going to be a noon coverage over there on Mix 101.5. I'm excited to see the starters get more, or I'm hoping, I should say, that the starters are going to get a little bit more action and more playing time this coming game than they did in preseason game number 1 last week against the Cleveland Browns. Last week, we saw the starters on both sides of the ball play 2 drives. Each got about 12, 13 snaps apiece, and that was it. That was it, which is what Dave Canales wanted to do. I understand they had a joint practice last week, and they also had a joint practice yesterday as well. But Dave Canales even stated after the game that he would like to have the starters get the feel of going out for a 3rd drive. Go out there one time, get that initial drive going. All right, come back, talk about the things. Hey, what are you seeing? What am I seeing? Let's do this. Go out there and try and implement it. Okay, they counter with this. Okay, we need to counter with that. Go out there for a 3rd drive. Just get your body in that mindset of getting back off the sideline and playing. I want to see the starters play a little bit more. And Pat Jones on the defense, who's an outside linebacker, the free agent signing from the Minnesota Vikings, I would like to see them get more reps, especially on defense because there are so many new pieces on that side of the ball. But Pat Jones did talk about it's also good for the defense to face different styles of quarterbacks and different caliber of quarterbacks as well, such as a C.J. Stroud.
I think it's great seeing mobile quarterbacks like that. It's a new challenge. That's really how the game's going now. Everybody has a mobile quarterback. So I wouldn't even say a mobile quarterback. I would just say just a quarterback because all the quarterbacks are like that. But just seeing 2 different styles of offenses and just being able to go out there and play them, I feel like it's something that's going to be good to get us ready for the season.
And playing a guy like the caliber of C.J. Stroud, who had a little bit of a down season last year, but again, we're also talking about a guy who was Offensive Rookie of the Year in 2023. Guy drafted 1 spot behind Bryce Young. When you're playing a high-level quarterback like that, this is why I hope the Houston Texans play their starters as well. I want the Texans to play their starters simply for this reason, because it'd be good reps against the starting caliber quarterback like C.J. Stroud, and that's exactly what safety Trayvon Merrick said yesterday.
No, it's always great work. I think anytime you can go up against another team in practice, it's always going to be great work because it's not something you see, every day when you're going against your own team. So to have a guy like that, he's very good, like you said, and, we'll have some things to look at the tape and get better at, but it was good competing against him.
Hopefully, again, I want to see the Texans run their starters out there. I want to see the Panthers good on good, as they like to say, starters versus starters, good on good, ones versus ones. I want to see that for both sides of the ball. I think it's good. I want to see Bryce Young outside of a practice situation where he can't get hit, and he's got Will Anderson, the 3rd overall pick from 2023, the edge rusher out of Alabama, blitzing off the edge to try and sack him from behind. I want Ike Ekwonu to face that, and Bryce Young have to feel that pressure and try and throw the pass to Teterola McMillan while he's being guarded by Derek Stingley Jr., who's one of the best corners in the NFL. That's what I want to see in the preseason. Last year in the preseason, the Panthers never got that. They only played the 1 drive in that 3rd preseason game the starters did against the Bills' 2nd and 3rd team guys. Yeah, they went down and scored a touchdown. That was it. McMillan needs to have the reps against a guy like Derek Stingley, with Bryce Young throwing the ball, feeling the pressure from Will Anderson. They need those live game reps. It's a really young team offensively. There's a lot of new pieces on defense. They need those good quality reps. I hope to see that tomorrow. But even if you are playing against the other team's seconds, if DeMeco Ryans, their head coach, decides to not play his starters, then fine. Still go out there and ball. Still go out there and play and still do what you're supposed to do. I'm looking forward to it. By the way, we'll have another episode of Panthers Playbook tomorrow afternoon and breaking down the game as well. So make sure you subscribe to our YouTube page, 99.9 The Fan. That way you do not miss an episode of that if you're a Panthers fan. It's The Drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan. Max, last chance for people to win the numbers game this week and win a $25 gift card to Sharky's. Call 919-860-5326. 919-860-5FAN. 919-860-5326. We need 2 contestants. But call that number, 919-860-5326, for your chance to win a $25 gift card to Sharky's. Sharky's with back-to-back wins for best wings in the Triangle. Voted best sports bar, quite possibly the best neighborhood bar in the world. We need 2 contestants, Sharkies. 2 contestants to play the numbers game. $25 gift card to Sharkies on the line. 919-860-5326. We need 2 contestants. Numbers game next.
Hey, it's Tim Donnelly here for Bailey's Fine Jewelry, specifically the Fox & Bailey Watch Shop located inside Bailey's Fine Jewelry at their Village District location. If you're listening to this show, if you're listening to this station, you're probably a sports fan. Well, let me ask you this. What sport? If you're into golf, precision, performance, patience, why not an Omega or a Rolex? Wimbledon, game, set, match. Grab something like a classic Cardio Santos that would match with your all-white center court attire. If you're into baseball, get something a little more durable, right? Maybe a Hamilton khaki field, sporty, durable, all-American tool. There is a statement timepiece for your wrist. Regardless of what kind of sports fan you are, whatever you're into, you can find the one that speaks to you. So go check them out. Fox & Bailey Watch Shop located inside Bailey's Fine Jewelry at their Village District location. And when you're there checking out your dream watch, let them know you heard about it from Tim on 99.9 The Fan.
Evan, Canty, and Michelle are unsportsmanlike.
If we're going to do a quick power ranking right now of second-year QBs, you're saying Jaden 1.
Yes.
2 Knicks.
Correct.
3.
May.
Which would leave us 4 Caleb.
At best. You got J.J. McCarthy and Michael Penix Jr. I would have all 3 of those guys in the hat. I wouldn't be surprised if Caleb Williams is 4th. I wouldn't be surprised if Caleb Williams was 6th.
Mornings from 6 to 9 on 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
Hello, I'm John Heister for the Heister Automotive Group. And you know, we're constantly looking for ways to serve you better. One of the ways we do that is with something we call a Go-See. And that's where you select a vehicle from our inventory, and we have thousands, and we get one of our product specialists to bring that vehicle to you at your convenience. How do we do that? Well, it's simple. We have a group of employees that are evaluated based on the number of presentations they do. They're glad to do it. So it's just one more way we get off our keister and bring Heister to you.
Hey, it's Paul Eihander from 99.9 The Fan for Clayton Homes. The Sign and Save sales event is happening now at Clayton Homes and Oakwood Homes, but only through August 31st. You can save up to $5,000 instantly on your new home. That's $2,500 off a single section or $5,000 off a multi-section home. Discover the comfort, the style, and the value of a Clayton-built home, crafted with North Carolina in mind. From modern floor plans to energy-saving upgrades and premium finishes, there's a home fitting your lifestyle and, of course, your budget. And with summer heating up, it's the perfect time to enjoy energy-smart features for year-round comfort and savings. Stop by, tour our fully furnished models, or visit manufacturedhomeoffers.com and browse limited-time deals. But don't wait. The Sign and Save sales event ends August 31st. Terms and conditions for the Sign and Save sales event at manufacturedhomeoffers.com. Available only at participating retailers through 8/31. Amount of savings may be limited. Ask for details. May not be available with certain financing. Lender restrictions apply.
It's time for the numbers game. At stake, we have a $25 gift card to Sharkies. Sharkies with back-to-back wins for best wings in the Triangle. Voted best sports bar, quite possibly the best neighborhood bar in the world. Sharkies. Competing today in the numbers game, we have Chuck in Raleigh and we have Nate in Durham. So we have to decide who goes first. So I'm going to ask each of you a question. So we're going to ask Chuck in Raleigh and Nate in Durham the exact same question. We're actually going to go Chuck in Raleigh first. We're going to ask you guys this question. Max is going to decide. So if in case there is a tie that's not a 5 for 5, whomever goes first will be declared the winner. So we're going to decide who goes first. I'm going to ask each of you all a simple question. Chuck, are you there?
I'm here.
All right, Chuck. You're ordering wings. What's your go-to wings order?
I'm going to go with some garlic parmesan.
Okay, garlic parmesan. Max, any questions?
No.
Okay, simple as that. All right, stay on the line. Let's get to Nate in Durham. Nate, you're ordering wings. What's your go-to wings order?
Louisiana rub.
Ooh, Louisiana rub. Okay, Max, any questions here, sir?
Can you elaborate? What is Louisiana rub? What kind of flavor profile is that?
Let me see. It's like I haven't had it in several months. Like, I had it one time and I fell in love, but I can't lie. It's hard for me to describe, to be honest.
All right, I got a little breakdown here for you, Max. I looked up Louisiana dry rub here. So spices: cayenne pepper, garlic powder, onion powder, paprika, chili powder, cumin, oregano, thyme, black pepper, and sometimes even a little bit of lemon pepper. So I'm sure these have a little bit of kick. I guess it depends on how much cayenne and stuff you want to put on there. So it's a dry rub. All right, Max, you decide. You have Nate and Durham with the Louisiana dry rub, or Chuck and Raleigh, the garlic parmesan.
Yesterday we had a caller who also said garlic parm, and I said that's an order of mine that I enjoy, but I do like a little spice now and again.
Okay.
So we'll mix it up. We'll go with Nate and Durham this time.
Okay, Nate and Durham, you will go first. Don't worry, Chuck, stay on the line. You'll have your opportunity. All right, Nate, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Okay, here are your categories from which to choose. We have NFL, mid-August birthday boys. So these are all players that have played in the NFL or you're currently playing in the NFL that were born in mid-August. Also, next category, NFL, ACC pros from 2010 to 2019. Also, NBA, short names. All these players, their letters of their names add up to either be 9 letters or less in both their names. And we also have NHL hurricanes throughout history.
Let's see. Let's go with the short names.
Okay, NBA short names. So here's the situation. I'm going to read the names of the player and the team name. You give us the jersey number. 30 seconds on the clock. You do have one pass. Obviously, you're trying to go for all 5. You do have one pass. Any questions?
No, sir.
All right. Your time starts when you hear the horn. Yao Ming, Houston Rockets.
11.
Correct. Kevin Love, Miami Heat.
42.
Correct. Nas Reed, Minnesota Timberwolves.
11.
Correct. Max Strus, Cleveland Cavaliers.
1.
Correct. Trey Mann, Charlotte Hornets.
You said Trey Nance?
Trey Mann, Charlotte Hornets.
20.
Incorrect. Trey Mann, Charlotte Hornets.
23.
Correct. Let's go. That's 5 for 5. 5 for 5, Nate. Max, what's the time that we had here on the 5 for 5?
28 and a half seconds.
28 and a half seconds. You hemmed and hawed a little bit there, Nate, but you eventually got to Trey Mann, 23. Well done, sir. That's how we start a weekend off. Now, 28 and a half seconds. That's the unofficial time. Stay on the line because Chuck and Raleigh has a chance to beat that. Let's go to Chuck and Raleigh. Chuck, are you there?
I am here.
All right, Chuck.
Set the bar high.
What's that?
He set a high bar.
He did set a high bar, but we have seen faster. And we have seen multiple times where both contestants have gotten 5 for 5. Okay, so it is doable. Your categories, Chuck, to choose from are ACC mid-August birthday boys, NFL mid-August birthday boys, NFL ACC pros from 2010 to 2019, and NHL hurricanes throughout history.
I got to go with the Hurricanes.
Okay, Canes it is. So even though we know the category, we're still going to give you the team name. So I'm going to give you the name, and I'm going to say the team name, even though we know it's Carolina Hurricanes to keep things fair. You have to get all 5, and you have to beat 28 and a half seconds. All right, Chuck?
Okay.
You do get one pass, but you got to beat the clock. 28 and a half seconds, you got to get all 5. Time starts when you hear the horn. Scott Morrow, Carolina Hurricanes.
That's a tough one. Man, let me try. That's a tough one. I got to take a pass.
Okay, Jack Roslovic, Carolina Hurricanes.
Oh, man. And that's a tough one. No, didn't have it today.
Chuck, that's sometimes that happens. So when you don't have it, you think you have it, but you just don't. You want it to happen, but sometimes it just doesn't. That happens sometimes, and that unfortunately happened to you. You got an offer. Scott Morrow wore number 56 with the Carolina Hurricanes, and Jack Roslovic actually wore 2 numbers for the Canes this past season, both 98 and 96. Little sage advice next time you play the numbers game, Chuck. If you're not sure, just shout out a number. Just say a number. You never know. Just
That's
say
right. That's right. Broken clock's right twice a day.
Exactly.
Yeah, appreciate it, guys.
Absolutely, Chuck. Thank you for playing this weekend, seriously. Or playing today. Enjoy your weekend for sure. Which brings us back to Nate. Congratulations, Nate and Durham. 5 for 5. Let's go.
Well done, Nate.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Let's go.
Appreciate it.
All right.
Yes,
Why the Louisiana dry rub? I'm curious. Why the Louisiana dry rub being your favorite wing?
I don't know. It was good. Like, it was good, and it was when I was in Chicago in October.
Okay.
So I don't know. If I tried it down here, it might be different. But it was just good.
All right, that's fair enough. Stay on the line. Max has to get some information from you. Congrats on the 5 for 5, and actually we'll get into the 5 for 5s here in just a little bit. But congrats to you, sir. I will say this: when I went down to the Final Four in New Orleans, when I was there a few years ago, when it was Duke and Carolina playing each other, I forgot that like Cajun seasoning and all that kind of stuff is basically used like we use salt. Like normally, it's just everything was just had a kick to it. I was like, I was just simply was not used to it. Everything I ate had some sort of Cajun seasoning and kick to it. It was kind of wild. It was, I mean, don't get me wrong, it was good, but just not a heat level I was used to. So yes, Nate, 5 for 5. Congratulations. That's how we get a weekend started, folks. $25 gift card to Sharky's to Nate. Speaking of 5 for 5s and Sharky's, next week, folks, on Thursday next week, we have our Numbers Game Live, our second annual Numbers Game Live show. It is presented by Sharky's Place Sports Bar and Grill. It's going to take place on Thursday next week, August 21st. Perfect players will battle the clock at the Hilton Raleigh North Hills, a fabulous hotel for all your needs. Watch as we crown our champion live on YouTube. Just search 99.9 The Fan on YouTube. 7 o'clock next week. You can watch the Numbers Game Live. Special thanks to Onsite AV, a full-service event production company, for supplying the sights and sounds of Numbers Game Live. That's on August 21st next week. Now, Nate, for example, is after our cutoff date for Numbers Game Live for next week. So we actually took August 1st of 2024 through July 31st of this year. So that 12-month stretch, anyone that got a 5 for 5 in that stretch, we invited to Numbers Game Live. So the invites and everything have all been set out. The field, I think, for the most part, is pretty much set for Numbers Game Live next week. But that doesn't mean when we have another Numbers Game Live, hopefully in the future, that Nate, and we've actually had a couple with 5 for 5s already so far this year, which is just exciting. Love 5 for 5. Numbers Game Live coming up this week. Or next week. Excited for that. Hey, folks, Dennis Cox here for my friends over at Law Tigers. Something that I'm always looking forward to. Any chance I get an opportunity to ride the motorcycle, I'm going to hop on the bike and ride. And that's especially with the fall weather coming up, it's the perfect time to do it. Especially on like a Saturday morning before the games kick off. I enjoy getting out there on the road. It's one of the things I love about being a motorcycle rider is just simply relaxing while I'm on the bike. I don't have any music in my ears or anything like that. You just kind of sit back and relax and you just enjoy the moment and being present. But also in those moments, I have to be super cautious on what's going on around me. By the way, did you know, folks, that certainly in spots of the state of North Carolina, but overall in the state of North Carolina, roughly 1 out of every 8 drivers out there is either uninsured or underinsured as a driver? Which this affects not only just motorcycle riders, but also you as a driver as well. Because if you're involved in a motorcycle accident, your insurance policy has to kick in if the person that was involved in the accident with you is uninsured or underinsured. That's something that has to take place, is your insurance policy then kicks in. So make sure as a motorcycle rider that you are maxed out on your coverage possibilities, because you might have to go to the hospital as part of a motorcycle accident. But if you are injured in a motorcycle accident, make sure you call 1-800-LAW-TIGERS. Law Tigers is there to represent you as a motorcycle rider. They are part of the motorcycle riding community. They're riders too, just like me or maybe like you. Your case evaluation with Law Tigers is always free, and they don't get paid a dime until your case settles. So call 1-800-LAW-TIGERS, North Carolina's motorcycle injury lawyers. Law Tigers is a network of independent law firms who are members of the American Association of Motorcycle Injury Lawyers. Law Tigers is not a law firm. It's The Drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan. Dennis Cox sitting in for Tim Donnelly this afternoon. Max Gorin producing the show today. Don't worry, folks. We're going to send you off to the weekend by making some picks next.
Get ready.
Concepcion touchdown, 13 yards. NC State leads North Carolina with 8:01 to play.
College football kicks off August 23rd.
Jones a first down and more. 10-5. They've tied the game.
Bully ball by the Duke offense.
Down the far sideline, caught at the 10, the 5. Touchdown, Carolina.
On 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
Keeping your engines healthy means protecting them in season and out. Experts trust Stable to do that, and third-party testing confirms it. Stable is the industry leader in preventing fuel-related issues, no matter if you use it in your car, boat, or outdoor power equipment. In season or out, at every fill-up or when you store, start with Stable.
It's bow time. Something new just dropped at Bojangles. Take the bold taste of a crispy golden chicken supreme that's been seasoned to perfection, then add dill pickles, Carolina Gold barbecue sauce, and a toasted bun that's great on the go. What do you get? You get a Bo's Bird Dog. In fact, you can grab 2 of them for $5. So when you're on the go, headed to practice, or need a snack, grab a Bo's Bird Dog. Hurry in before they're gone, available for a limited time. It's bow time.
There's no time like bow time, but sometimes it's go time. No time to stop, but the perfect time for a Bojangles Bird Dog. A seasoned to perfection Bojangles Chicken Supremes, dill pickles, and Carolina Gold barbecue sauce, all tucked inside a toasted bun. Great on the go. Try 2 Bird Dogs for just $5 or 2 Bird Dog Combo for just $8.25. Available for limited time only. When you're hungry for flavor and value, it's bow time.
Is this Michael McDonald?
Of course. How else would you want to kick off your weekend?
You love Michael McDonald.
I love Michael McDonald, but honestly, just the way you guys react every time I play one of his songs, I just want to. It's like professional rage bait. Like I just want to play it and just see how you guys react. Because you and Tim always react if I play a Michael McDonald song.
Max. I think I'm about 15 years your elder. I think roughly. I think you're the youngest guy that works over here on the sports side of things over here at Sports Radio.
I don't know. I'm 24.
I'm 15 years your elder. And it impresses me and just surprises me that you're dropping the Michael McDonald beats and all that. I just would not expect it. It's weird that I'm the one that bumps with J. Cole. You would think it'd be the other way around.
You would think, but you would think wrong.
You would think. By the way, coming up this weekend, something that check out if you're here in Raleigh. If you happen to know the name Nolan McLean, and Nolan McLean is a pitcher for the New York Mets. He's making his major league debut. Let me start this over. Nolan McLean of the New York Mets is making his Major League Baseball debut tomorrow. Pitching at home at Citi Field, taking on the Seattle Mariners. He's from Garner High School, right here in the Triangle. So he's from this area, and he's pitching in the majors for the first time, 24 years old. He's the number 3 prospect in the New York Mets system, the 37th ranked prospect overall in Major League Baseball. He's making his Major League Baseball debut starting for the New York Mets tomorrow. You can actually listen to that game right here on 99.9 The Fan. We will have Mets versus Mariners tomorrow here on The Fan. I believe first pitch for that game tomorrow. Max, I have to go ahead and look that up. But nonetheless, you can actually listen to that game tomorrow right here on 99.9 The Fan. Before we have Charlotte FC soccer tomorrow in the evening as well. But if you want to hear Nolan McLean, if you are maybe someone that just is interested in local athletes that are playing in the pros, you went to high school with them, you taught him in high school, you played against him, whatever it might be, if you just happen to know who he is and you can't watch the game and you're driving around because you got other stuff that's going on, you can listen to Nolan McLean right here on 99.9 The Fan, make his Major League debut tomorrow right here on 99.9 The Fan. First pitch of that game is set for 4:10. So 4 o'clock tomorrow, tune in. Nolan McLean making his Major League debut tomorrow, starting pitcher for the New York Mets. I'm excited for him. I'm excited to see what he can do for the simple fact that it's a local guy from right here in the Triangle. I want to see these guys succeed. I really do. It's no different than seeing Peyton Wilson go to the NFL or Omarion Hampton go to the NFL. Dexter Lawrence, all these guys have success at professional level. Lee McNeil from right here in Raleigh as well. I mean, gosh, Braxton Berrios. I think he's a local guy that's been forgotten quite a bit. He's played in the NFL for a long, long time. Went to Leesville Road High School. There's a lot of really great, talented players and across a whole bunch of different sports that make it to the professional ranks. And we have another one that's making that debut tomorrow. So I'm rooting for Nolan McLean tomorrow. But until then, Max, and maybe that's part of the predictions that we have that weekend, we got to make some picks for this coming weekend.
Yeah, you bet, actually, that we were going to make some picks on that. We're going to start there. So we got Nolan McLean on the mound tomorrow afternoon. You said 4:10 scheduled first pitch. We'll actually have 3:30 will be the beginning of pregame coverage.
Okay, so it's 3:30, not 4 o'clock. 3:30 coverage right here on the Fan. Let's go.
3:30. He is going up against Brian Wu is on the mound for the Mariners, taking on Cal Raleigh, one of the better catcher seasons there's been in Major League Baseball in a long, long time.
Yeah.
He will finish the season with the most home runs by a catcher in a season ever, which is really impressive. So are you back in the local kid in his first Major League start against the Mariners at home? Mets have been pretty cold as of late. One of the coldest teams over the last month, but can he dig them out of it?
Let's keep this in mind that Cal Raleigh is also from the state of North Carolina as well. So let's not discount that. But he's not local here, even though his name says it. He's not actually from Raleigh. I'm excited for the simple fact that a guy from the Raleigh area is pitching to a guy with the last name of Raleigh. Giving Nolan McLean to have a Steven Strasburg-like debut, 7 innings, 14 Ks, make it happen. Mets still lose 2-1.
I wonder what kind of odds you could get on that.
Gosh, I'll put $1 on it just to see what happens.
Exacto, 7 innings, 14 strikeouts. Legendary debut.
I'm speaking it into existence. By the way, if this happens, I'm clipping it.
Oh, yeah.
I'm clipping this.
Oh, yeah. We'll go
back.
And
if that doesn't happen, it never exists.
We'll make sure you get your flowers if he does
I'm going to
match
give
those stats.
flowers to Nolan McLean if that happens.
Oh, yeah.
All right, what's next up?
We'll stay on the diamond here.
Right.
This is a story we were talking about yesterday. Milwaukee Brewers have won, of course, what is it now, 12 games in a row. Have activated the free burgers from the chain in Milwaukee. They're taking it on the road here, going to Cincinnati. The Reds, a team that has kind of been surging, trying to take that last wild card spot from the aforementioned Mets. Definitely on a different trajectory than the Mets, who, again, have struggled recently. Reds pretty hot. But the Brewers are throwing Jacob Misiorowski, the talented rookie, throws it, 102, 103, something like that.
Wild.
Throws the ball very, very hard. Are the Brewers going to continue this win streak? Are they going to go for 13 in a row tonight in Cincinnati?
Here's the thing about streaks. They always tell you in gambling, if you got a heater, you stay with it. You stay with it until you lose. Give me the Milwaukee Brewers. They're minus 145 on the money line today. Give me the Brewers to win this one. You stay with the heater.
I think they win with Misiorowski on the mound today, but I don't think they get out of the series with the Reds without the streak breaking.
That's fair.
And then I think next week they also have, it's like a 5-game series against the Cubs because the first day is a doubleheader makeup game.
All right.
For the Cubs' sake, I hope they win a couple of those because that division race is just getting entirely out of hand at this point.
All right, what else we have?
Let's jump over to, I'm debating between a couple here. Let's go over to the WNBA.
Okay.
Big slate tonight, 5 games on the dockets.
5.
And let's focus in on the Caitlin Clark-less Indiana Fever. At home against the Washington Mystics, trying to stay above water. They're 3 games over 500, but Caitlin Clark remains out with injury. They are pretty big favorites, though, in this game, minus 8.5. Are you back in the Fever to stay above water without their star player?
Yes, I'll go ahead and back them up. Sophie Cunningham plays for that team as well. She's not afraid to mix things up. Give me the Fever in this one.
All right, and we'll do one.
I'll even give the points. I don't care.
Ooh, and the points.
Yeah, why not?
They're at home, maybe. We'll do one non-Panthers game before we finish off with the Panthers preseason game here.
All right.
Let's see. You want a game from tonight or a game from tomorrow? We got 2 tonight.
You just give me a game.
Let's go Chiefs and Seahawks.
Okay.
Seahawks had the tie with the Raiders last week in the first preseason game. Seahawks are 4.5-point favorites at home against the Kansas City Chiefs. That one is tonight, 10 o'clock, and you can watch it on NFL Network as well. NFL Network doubleheader of preseason games tonight for all those people who are just foaming at the mouth for some football, and they'll even take it in a preseason form. What do you like here, Chiefs or Seahawks to get their first win of the preseason?
Chiefs 0-1. Seahawks tied their first preseason game because, let's be honest, they don't go to overtime in the preseason, and nor should they ever. I don't know how much the Chiefs are actually going to play starters in this one. I don't think the Seahawks actually played starters in their first preseason game. So this might be the first time we actually see Sam Darnold and the offense actually out there for the Seattle Seahawks this weekend, because, again, they didn't play in that first preseason game. I'll take the Seahawks at home in a preseason game. I'll even give the 4.5 points, because why not? I'll do it. Though, actually, a player that I'm looking forward to seeing for the Kansas City Chiefs, who's a backup player, guy by the name of Brashard Smith, who was a 7th-round draft pick out of SMU. He's a running back, but he actually began his career at Miami, was a wide receiver, undersized a little bit as a wide, obviously still undersized as a running back as well, but SMU actually moved him to running back and was pretty dynamic in the sense of that he can obviously find running lanes as well as he can split out wide and still has the ability as a pass catcher as well. Brashard Smith was a player I was actually hoping that the Carolina Panthers would maybe snag in the 6th round or so, but they obviously made the picks that they made, which is totally fine. But I really was a fan of watching him, especially got to watch him live and in person at Duke last year when SMU came up and played the Blue Devils. And I actually spent most of that game watching the game from the field, and just his speed and everything. I thought it really just jumped out to me. So that's a player I'm looking forward to seeing play tonight, is actually Brashard Smith of Kansas City. I just think I don't think he's going to be an every down running back. He's not built for that, but I think he's just an added offensive weapon for Kansas City that all of a sudden we're going to see in like week 11, Andy Reid's going to draw up some crazy play and Brashard Smith's going to score like a 67-yard touchdown, because that's just what they do. But anyway, that's a player I'm looking forward to seeing tonight. But I'll still take the Seahawks because I think the starters are actually going to play for them tonight.
Nice. We'll reach the logical conclusion now of this
stellar
slate of games we had to pick from this weekend between NFL preseason, regular season MLB, and WNBA. Panthers taking on the Texans in Houston. Had joint practice earlier this week. That game is tomorrow at 1 o'clock. It'll start with coverage, I believe, at noon.
Noon over on Mix 101.5.
On Mix 101.5, our family station. Texans are a slight favorite, favored just by 1 point.
Mm-hmm.
Panthers starters expected to play a couple series, maybe 2 or 3. Dave Canales mentioned he'd like to maybe get them out there for a 3rd series just to see how they process it. I know what pick you made in your ladder challenge earlier, but who are you backing tonight in the Panthers preseason game against the Texans?
I think I'm going to go with... I know I took the Houston Texans. If I remember correctly. No, my ladder challenge, I actually took the Carolina Panthers. Actually, my ladder challenge.
I thought you took the Texans.
I did.
7 to 10 points.
I did. Actually, that's right. I had the Texans winning by 7 to 12 points. So yes, I'm trying to remember. For some reason, I got it mixed up. I'm sticking with it. Give me the Houston Texans to win this one in a range of 7 to 12 points. Give me 31 to 21. 31-21 Houston Texans win that one tomorrow. And I don't care what the final score actually is. I don't care.
Starters win their portion of the game.
And that's all I care about. That's really it. If the starters for the Carolina Panthers play the starters for the Houston Texans and it's 10-3 and they each play 3 series, that's fine by me. That's 100% okay by me. So yes, give me the Houston Texans to win 31-21, because that falls perfectly in my plus $500 bet that I made earlier today that the Texans would win somewhere in the range of 7 to 12 points. By the way, you can bet on ties in preseason games, Max. Did you know that?
You can bet on everything, so I believe it, but it's not something I was ever looking for.
By the way, I actually, speaking real quick on that, well, let's make it our picks. By the way, I'll wrap up on this. I did see real quick that people have been betting on the Little League World Series, which is going on right now. Little League World Series is like, we don't want people to bet on these kids and profit off of these young players and these young kids who are playing their dream and all that stuff. I said, hey, Little League, you guys are making nearly $8 million a year off your TV rights from ESPN. You have no room to talk about making money off of young kids. That's The Drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan. That's Max Gore and Dennis Cox here for you. Enjoy your weekend. Goodbye and good night.
Move your sports day forward.
A lesson learned this month, courtesy of some student athletes paying people via Venmo. When you're transferring money to friends, don't use real descriptions. Don't say sports gambling, especially if you're a student athlete playing sports. Try something different, like hide it under pizza or maybe feet pics.
Get set up. Join Next Up with Paul Ihander. Mornings at 9 on 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
Joining us on this episode are real Spectrum customers, Monique and Greg. We hear your family is a big fan of Spectrum.
Family of 4, we have about 18 devices last time I counted.
2 teams require a lot of speed. Everything they do is online.
There's gaming, there's streaming. Spectrum